Hi, guys. Welcome back to FPF First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Quaysie Maule, and Brent will be joining me soon. So we're going to kind of just jump right into this. We're filming this on Tuesday, June 23rd. So it should be out a bit earlier, and we're going to have a lot of games coming out. And we're going to go straight to Women's A to kind of just breeze by it. So Women's A, not much things kind of happen. We have Knicks that kind of jumped into 3-0. Me and Brent were kind of talking about them to kind of seeing like if Knicks was the real deal. They ended up playing the Birds their last game. So this was on June 21st. That was on Sunday, and they won 36-20. So Athena Ryan went 27 for 38, 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, and she threw one INT. Lara had herself a day, 13 catches on 14 targets, 169 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Quaysie, 5 for 7, 48 yards. Daphne Burrell, 5 for 6, 37 yards, 2 touchdowns. So pretty much the regular crew. I think they have a really good top 4 or 5 receivers on this team that always put up a lot of points. A lot of touchdowns, and they did a great job against the Birds. Again, the Birds coming out losing this game 36. Their quarterback Clarence Michard went 23 for 37, 23 yards, 3 TDs, but no INTs. And then pretty much she hit every receiver, which you don't really see that often. She targeted 7 receivers for pretty much. Not a bad day. Not a bad day at all. But yeah, anyways, going back to the Knicks. The Knicks is the real deal. They just beat the Birds. The Birds are coming into the standings going 4-2. Knicks moved to 3-0. So one thing that I'm very concerned, not concerned, one thing I kind of really, me and Brent are going to talk about this a little later on, is the Knicks are they going to be able to use this momentum moving forward when we get into week 6, week 7? I'm not exactly sure if every team's roster is completely there every single game. That's one of the biggest issues when it comes around the summer. A lot of people take vacations, stuff like that. So the fact that they're starting 3-0 is great. But again, it's a long season. But it's good to kind of see this team kind of coming back in. They're firmly known as ice cold. They kind of vamped it up some of the roster. And now they're kind of dominating Women's A. Again, we don't have the top dogs like Sub-Zero. They're unfortunately not in this. They're not playing this season, but they do have a couple girls here and there on certain teams. And then we kind of have Purple Heat as well. That kind of is a mix of 2 teams where they're not doing that bad either, and they're 3-2. But again, a lot of rosters are not consistent. So again, we have 6 teams in this division. Everyone, to be honest with you, I'm like looking at it. I'm not shocked how most of these teams are doing. Again, Chaos is 2-3. They kind of made that jump going into Women's A. They figured, well, we kind of figured like you guys have to make that jump. You know, they're not. I don't think they're struggling that bad. I think they're gonna probably go 5-5, go about 500, and try to make a playoff push. The only team that I don't understand is Sparks. So Sparks right now is 0-5. Again, we kind of talked about this. Their last game that they played was on Saturday. They ended up playing Blue Bud. I kind of watched maybe 2-3 minutes of the game. I think I saw a pick 6 or I saw a pick. Yeah, they're struggling. They haven't scored more than just kind of looking back at the standings for Bud. They haven't scored more than 19 points this season in 5 games. So they're averaging 4.5 points a game. They're definitely going to have to change some things. I'm not exactly sure if they have a full roster either. I think every time I'm kind of watching them, I think they're kind of missing some girls or some girls not showing up. Their quarterback situation as well, too, is not the greatest. I believe the starting quarterback is Juliette. I can't see her on the roster. I believe it's Juliette Bouvard. I believe it's her. I think she's the starting quarterback for this team. She's played. I'm trying to look at it. For some reason, she's not popping up on her games played. she's played 3 games, so they played 5. She's played 3 in those games. Stat wise, isn't the greatest, but I mean, she's doing what she could do. Kind of looking at it, she played versus Purple Heat. She went 30 for 16, 103 yards, no TDs, 5 INTs. Played Birds. She went 30 for 16 as well, which is kind of weird. 165 yards, 1 TD, 2 INTs, and then she played Chaos where she went 23 for 10, 108 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 INT. So her biggest issue right now is they're not scoring. Their defense is trying to do the most they can, but when your offense doesn't score points, it makes it very difficult for your defense. It makes it very difficult for your defense to like make that many stops, and you want to bring momentum when your offense is scoring. So I think their biggest issue right now is the quarterback situation. They're definitely going to have to fix their quarterback situation to kind of move forward. Again, there's 5 games left. I want to believe that every team does make playoffs, and women's too. Yeah, every team does make playoffs. So at this point, like you're just, I guess you're trying to go into playoffs with momentum. Maybe have a win or 2 wins here. Definitely try to score at least more than 6. Definitely try to score more than uh, 2 touchdowns per game. That's one thing for sure, and then kind of move forward from there. But again, everyone makes playoffs, so it's not the biggest issue. Brent kind of knows that I don't like the fact that everyone makes playoffs, but at the end of the day, there's 6 teams. I also believe it was kind of hard to get 6 teams for women's this division since we lost 3 of the main teams in general. So the fact that we have 6, it's still pretty good, and I'll move forward. So that is pretty much women's A. So Brent just kind of came in. I don't know if you have anything to say about women's A. Kind of touched base on pretty much everything, how Knicks are dominating, the struggles with Sparks, and then pretty much kind of saying I'm not really surprised on the standings right now. I feel like Knicks was going to be one of the top teams. Birds is also a new team, but they're kind of mixed in with a lot of university players. And then Purple Eid is a team that they don't have a consistent roster all the time. So they're 3-2 in the middle of the pack, and they have Blue Pud also in the middle of the pack. And then Chaos again making that jump, and they're 2-3 going into week 6. So I don't know if Brent, if you have anything else to add on to that.
No, I mean it's still early in the season, right? You're talking about obviously right now, like I said, Birds 4-2 and undefeated. Knicks right now 3-0, the only undefeated team. It's with the Sparks. I mean, okay, I'll be honest, it's not a huge surprise with the Sparks. I mean, a good team, don't get me wrong, like, but I mean, they're when you look at all the teams in terms of rosters, right? They have, I guess, the least amount of. I don't want to. It's gonna sound horrible saying this, but they have the least amount of talent, right? When you look at them, especially compared to the other teams, right? Again, and Sparks is a team kind of playing at this level for the first time, right? And a lot of players that don't have a ton of FPF experience, right? I mean, you look at someone like Alexandre LeBlanc. Sorry, looking at the team real quick here. Like, you look at us, Alexandre LeBlanc, but she's played like 1 game, right? You have Daniela Escobar. Remember, she's played with the Cavs, so she has some experience. But again, like in some of the lower divisions right now, Ray Mason, another one, right? She's new and she's only played 1 game. So it's a mixture of not a lot of talent in terms of experience wise, and just also kind of a bit of an inconsistent roster, right? For the most part. And again, for these ladies, it's the first time they're playing in such a high division. So it's to be expected with Sparks. You go with Chaos, right? Again, a veteran team, not a ton of experience playing in the highest division, but they're still trying to find their way, right? A little bit, at least in Division A, right? The first time around didn't go as good. Blue Power, right? They have some experience, but again, they're like a 500 team. Purple Heat, it is a little bit surprising to see where they're at record wise when you look at the talent on this team. But again, we have the whole second half of the season to really for teams to really kind of solidify themselves, right? For teams to kind of get some of these losses out of the way. Because you look at that roster real quick, right? Abigail Perot, she's a top-notch player. Tamara Boulanger, right? I mean, it is what it is. Mathilde Renault, they have Florence Billier Clermont. They have Annie Tyer's legacy. Someone I mentioned a lot on this podcast. The list goes on, right? They have a lot of talent on this team. It's just a matter of just kind of going forward and kind of playing their best football. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Have they done that so far? Not entirely. Have they been horrible? No, not at all. They're 3-2, right? They have a winning record. Big wins over Chaos. Big one, obviously, shutout win over Sparks. Those are teams they should be beating, and a tough win over Blue Pal. But then obviously they lost to Purple Heat in a tough one, and they got beat down by the Birds. So they have a rematch with the Birds coming up next Sunday, right? That's a huge chance for them to get revenge and to climb one game, 2 games over 500. And then after that, they have Knicks, right? So they have a chance to avenge their 2 losses in the 2 upcoming games. So we're gonna have to keep an eye, obviously, to see what Purple Heat does. But yeah, it's no real surprise what the standings are right now. But again, there's still a whole second half of football to play for pretty much every team, right? There's only looking at it here, Birds have played 6 games. Everyone else has played either 3, 4, or 5, right? So there's still a lot of ball left to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Also, one of my biggest thing is roster consistency, right? I think a lot of teams don't have a full roster every single week, and that's why you kind of can see some of these women where they have 3 games played, 2 games played, 4 games played. So sometimes you don't have a full roster. So sometimes you do drop some of these games that you figured you should have won. But you're missing one defender here, you're missing a quarterback here, you're missing a star defender, a receiver here. It does end up adding up at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Again, roster consistency, right? No matter what division you're in, whether it's Women's A, whether it's Division E, Division, I don't know. You could pick the division, right? Division F. You need roster consistency, whether you have an all-star team or a newbie team, right? If you have guys and ladies coming in and out the lineup every week, you're not going to get that consistency and that timing. And that's a huge part of football, right? Whether it's tackle, two-hand touch, flag football, anything, right? You need consistency and timing. If you're not going to have that, because every week it's who's showing up, who's going to be here, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of move away from women's. Is there other division you wanted to get into?
Uh, for me personally, so I wanted to. So I got a text earlier today when I was at work. So let me give a shout out to friend of the show, Keon Cyrus. So he was texting me about his game. So he plays in Division D1, right? So I'm just gonna go to it here actually. So Kiana, as we know, plays in Division D1. Team, I believe it's every year it change your name. I'm trying to get so Junior XL Special Edition or Special Ed, pardon me. Junior XL Special Education. I'm pretty sure that's what the name is of his team, if I'm not mistaken. Let me triple check. I know he's on like a million different teams. Yeah, okay, so this is the main team he's on. So they were taking on the Vipers this past week. So he hit me up today, and I was at work, and he's like, "Hey man, have you filmed the show yet?" I'm like, "No, we haven't done it yet." But the Black Vipers, pardon me. So he's like, "Okay, let me tell you what went down." So they played them this past Monday at Maryvick. It was a 8 o'clock game. So he goes, "Hey Brent, just want to let you know our game was crazy against the Black Vipers, so Division D1." He goes, "My team was down 13-6 with less than 3 minutes to go in the opening half. So I'm hopping into this game right here. Again, this is Division D1, so it's a pretty solid division, right?" So it goes, "Yeah, we were down 13-6. So I see here, so Kyle Fulkerson got a touchdown. Solid guy. Shout out to him, by the way. So you got a touchdown. They were up 6-0. They missed a 2-point conversion, and then 2 straight touchdowns by the Black Vipers. I'm just trying to see who got it here quickly. Yeah, 42-yard touchdown. Wow, that's pretty impressive, actually. 42-yard touchdown. Then they got a 3-yard touchdown. So their touchdowns were from Samuel Doyon. So he's the one that got the 42-yard touchdown. And then they got a 3-yard touchdown from Zachary Martin. Okay, so again, they were up 13-6. They were down 13-6, pardon me, with 3 minutes left. So he's like, "We got the ball back, but we flipped the switch and scored 4 TDs. Yes, 4 TDs in the final 3 minutes of the game." So when I go back to the play-by-play here for a second to see how this really went down, I apologize, I didn't have a chance to do this before getting in. Yeah, so they get 4 TDs. So they scored a touchdown. So that's the main man. My main man. I gotta figure out how to pronounce his last name properly. I say it differently all the time. Marcus Kosicki. Yeah, Marcus Kosicki. I think that's how he told me last night. So Marcus Kosicki got a touchdown. Okay, so the game's more or less tied. Then Dante Sparagna got a pick six, like literally 2 plays later. So now they're up. Okay, so this is where you see the advantage right now coming for this team. Then what happens? So after the pick six by Sparagna, Black Vipers get the ball back. Kyle Fulkerson picks off Mathis Cologne. So Mathis Cologne is a quarterback for the Black Vipers. Dante Sparina gets a 43-yard touchdown pass. So and it's another score right there. And then there's an interception thrown. Yeah, there's another interception thrown taken again by Kyle Fulkerson. So 2 picks for him in a matter of like 5 to 6 plays, actually to be exact. It's 2 picks in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, in 5 plays. Shout out to him again. And then they turned it into a touchdown. So Marcus Kosicki scored a 13-yard touchdown pretty much on the second to last play of the half. So, like I said, they scored 4 TDs in about 3 minutes. Plus, I got the extra point on that last touchdown. So shout out to those guys on turning it up. And he's like, yeah, we were much better, obviously. We had a really good end of the first, and then we were better in the second half. So he goes on to tell me he has a conversation with Mathis Cologne. So I've seen Mathis Cologne play before. Again, he's quarterback for the Black Vipers. So he goes, I had a talk with him after, and he's like, it's a conversation I want to have with you. He's a tackle quarterback who's making the transition to flag. Now he's been in FPF since 2024. Right, so it's not as if he came this is his first season and whatever. So it says on the website 2024. Although I'm looking at his past seasons and it only goes back to fall 2025. So either he started 2024 or 2025. Either or, it's not a long time in FPF, right? And as we talked about all the time, making the transition from tackle to flag is both something you and I had to do. It does take a while. But I know for quarterbacks in particular, it definitely takes at least maybe 2 to 3, sometimes even in some cases 4 seasons, right? It does take a long time. And right now, that's what Colomb is saying right here, because Keon told me, he goes, in my opinion, I think Colomb is actually a really good quarterback. It's just when you make him become one-dimensional, the game becomes really easy for the defense. And that's actually what Mathis admitted about himself as well. And he said he's trying to avoid becoming one-dimensional, and he just wants to be, he's still getting accustomed to playing flag. And he said it's taking a while, but he feels like he's improving. And Keon goes on to say, once this guy gets over that hump, he's going to be a really, really solid quarterback in FPF. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, obviously the conversation goes back once again, right? This is a league full of tackle players. At least I want to say about half have at least played tackle before at one point or another, or in some cases even right now, right? Making a transition. I know you play quarterback, obviously, right? I saw you play quarterback on Saturday as well, but I'll get into that in a second. You and Sanders going back and forth playing quarterback was hilarious on Saturday. But anyways, your opinion on playing quarterback, especially coming from tackle, and guy, again, you have a tackle background as well. Like, what? How much of a not how much of a learning curve is it, but how difficult do you think it is, and do you think it's something maybe goes on like a case by case scenario?
Yeah, I think everyone's a bit different. I think the biggest issue is that you have a rusher coming at you, right? So you don't have someone that's kind of like blocking your blind side or in front of you, whatever. You just have this guy coming at you at the speed of light, trying to get your flag. So I think that's one thing that's a bit different. So you don't really have as much time as you would like, as like you were in a pocket, like a pocket passer. And I also think the distances it is to complete a pass from one side of the field to the other side of the field, depending where you're playing. But I think most guys are coming from Canada, so they're playing on that big wide field, and it's so much easier. Well, sorry, it's so much easier as a quarterback to complete a pass on the back side of the other side of, like, let's just say you're on the right side and you're completing the pass on the left side, like 10-yard hooks, right? Because a defender in the CFL, like, you don't, for a defender to kind of make a play on the backside, it takes a bit of time actually getting there, compared to in flag. Like, when you run all hooks and you look your right side and your right side's not there, and you're like, okay, maybe I could throw my left side, which usually that's a completed pass. And because it takes so much time for the ball to get there, so the ball is getting faster. The ball is going to get there faster, but the defender's kind of just waiting there. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks struggle, because they don't have as much time to throw the ball. And when they do make the ball, most of the times those small windows are not available. So I think, depending also the division you played in and how fast the game is. But I know for a fact that a lot of these quarterbacks that are playing CJ, university, and even pro, they all say the same thing. Like, I don't have as much time, and that's why a lot of them throw pick sixes. Like, that's one big factor, is that a lot of good quarterbacks throw those pick sixes just because they think the window's there. They throw the ball and it's a pick six because you're literally sometimes it's not cross body, but you're throwing it from your non-dominant side. So you're throwing the opposite side. It's just like okay, it's gonna be there, and it's picked off, and then it's a pick six. Like a lot of the quarterbacks that played CJIP, and again, university, like that's one of the biggest issues that most of them have. And then it takes time to adjust, and they have to kind of realize, okay, like, okay, I have to run floods, I have to run different concepts, and I have to realize like I don't have the luxury of making making a pass coming from one side of the field to the other and thinking a defender can't break on that ball.
Right. No, I hear you. I think you're right. Timing is a huge thing, and I know from playing with guys that have played quarterback and tackle, that is true. I remember I think my first season in FPF, I had just stopped playing Concordia, and so me and a bunch of guys I played with at Connie, we put in a team. Actually, no, sorry, I'm lying. My first year in FPF was with Mo Khan and I and all those guys, the original Montreal's finest team. And then after that, I put my own team together. I think 2 years later, and there's a bunch of guys. So I just then I stopped playing Concordia, and like I played quarterback for a game, so quarterback got hurt, and I was like, I can do this. I thought for sure because I remember in high school, I would always play like I've actually played a little bit of quarterback in high school. I was like, I got this. And I got the ball, just getting the ball from the snapper. The snapper, I'm not the tallest guy, as you know, so the snapper's a little high. So to jump up, I got the ball. My feet hit the ground and I bring the ball up to throw, and the rusher was like a yard and a half away from my face. And I was like, wow, this is super crazy how fast he got there. I think I went 1 of 3 for like 5 yards. I played a series and then I benched myself. And another guy's like, I can do it. He came in and he was all right. The quarterback actually ended up playing. Our quarterback who got hurt, he pulled his groin a bit. He sat out 2, 3 series. He came back after he played. I think we lost, but whatever. That year, I think we went like 0-10 or some shit like that. Anyways, no, it's hard. I always tell the story. So I don't know if you know this guy. He played in FPF. So okay, you know Corey Williams, right? Receiver. He's
Yeah,
played all over the place. Yeah, stand-up guy. Shout out to Corey. He was on my team to commission for the last couple of years. Not this year, not this current season, but usually the last couple of years he's been on my team. So he brought a buddy of his, Jack Zergoitis. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Jack Zergoitis, quarterback. He played for UConn.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I played for Merrimack. Good dude. He had a rocket of an arm. Like I know people say Kevin Wyeth, and I played tackle with Kevin. Like he does have a rocket for an arm. I think Jack Zergoitis might have a stronger arm, at least than Kevin Wyeth, maybe even his prime. This guy, we were warming up. I was warming up on the sideline with him. It was me and like 2 other receivers there. So let's catch the keys. He's like, I want to get warm. We got there half an hour early. And even like 10-yard passes, like he wasn't even putting a lot on it. He was just flicking the wrists and it was coming in like a bullet. And I was like, wow. The first one I caught, like it hit me and it bent my thumb back a bit. And I was like, yeah, this guy could throw. So we ended up playing. And I tell you what, man, like he could run. He was like a dual threat quarterback. I'm looking right now. I had to remember his last name. So when you meet people, you don't always get their last name, right? So I was like, Jack something. And I'm looking at his highlights, even like here on YouTube and that, and you can see he's a dual threat quarterback, and he has a cannon for an arm, and I kind of like he's pretty built, like he had good size on him, and just like he said it himself, man, he came in that first series, man, and it was just he looked like a deer in the headlights, and it was just like it didn't go good. He ended up throwing. So he has FPF experience. Like he played back in 2016, but he played, I think it was 1 game with me. So I'm just trying to find what his stats were in that game. Yeah, he went 8 of 23 for 83 yards and 1 touchdown. So he didn't throw any picks, but I could tell you, like he missed a ton of open throws. And he was just getting rid of the ball. Like he was holding on and holding on and holding on. He's like, after 1 series, he came to the sideline with me because the defense went on. I'm like, okay, what are you seeing out there? He goes, man, he goes, honestly, he goes, I'm so used to having an O line. He goes, it's just totally different. He's like, I'm getting to the top of my drop, and the rusher's there almost right away. I go, yeah, man, that's the difference, right? Like, there's no O line here. There's no
Yeah.
running back to chip somebody for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think also the one thing is when they do their drop, they do a three stop drop, a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, and you're trying to read a defense that is completely different. There's no cover. There's
Yeah.
no like cover 1, cover 2, cover like we don't. I don't go when I'm calling defense. I go, hey guys, we're covering cover 2. No, I'm calling numbers. I'm calling
Oh, numbers,
delays. I'm
yeah.
calling switches, and you're kind of looking for something. You're looking for that deep safety. Like you're trying to look for tails that you usually do for tackle where the field's so much bigger and you have time to do that, right? So bang, like as a quarterback, cut, look at your 3-step drop, 5-step drop, depending on the routes you're running. Let's just say you're doing a 3-step drop. looking on the backside, you're looking to see where the safety is, where the halfback is, and then it's that's not a thing, you know. So by the time you look left and you want to look right, you have a guy coming at you full speed, coming for your flag, and the first thing you kind of want to do is make a juke move, but most rushers are looking at that and they're just sacking you, and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't have that much time, and then you're trying to rush, and then you're kind of in a panic, and then it could go downhill from there, and then God forbid you throw a pick, because when you start throwing picks, that's what makes it even worse, because then you start panicking even more, and then you want to run a bit, and then guys, especially when your huddle's kind of crowded, like there's so many factors that come along with playing quarterback. But I think the biggest one is the no O line situation. As soon as you get that ball, like you're by yourself, and there's no one else there to help you. Yeah, and there's a guy coming at you, you know. So like you don't have that much time unless like you kind of that you're faster than the rusher and you kind of can make a break. But even that, even when you know you're faster rusher, when you're kind of making a juke, your first instinct is looking up the field and still trying to pass. But by the time you're doing that, the rusher's still coming at you and he still can get your flag. So there's so many things where it's like so much different between tackle football quarterbacks and flag football quarterbacks, and then just making that transition to play flag. So I completely understand how with back to your kind of saying with Zach, and also with Keon was kind of saying that when he gets kind of used to the whole flag thing is going to be good.
And I find one thing too with quarterbacks, and I say this even with higher division quarterbacks, a lot less with higher division, but like lower division 100%, but even mid divisions, like one thing I gotta say to quarterbacks, like female and male, no matter what division you play, is when you're getting rushed, don't stop looking at your receivers to see if your flag got thrown. I see a lot of quarterbacks will do that. They'll roll it to the left, they'll roll it to the left, to the right, or whatever, avoid the rush. But then they'll look down to see if their flag is still there, taking their eyes off of the receivers. Then they'll look back up to try to make the throw, and usually ends up being an INT. Like keep your eyes downfield. If the rusher's gonna deflag you, they're gonna deflag you, whether you throw the ball or not, right?
Yeah.
Like do your juke move, like flip your hips or whatever you can to avoid it, but don't take your eyes away from your receivers to look down to see if your flag is still there, because that usually ends up not being a good play for the offense.
So you said that was division. Keon's playing division
Yeah, division. Well, yeah. So
D1.
yeah, division
Yeah,
D1. They ended up winning the. Sorry, they ended up winning the game.
45-20, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Sorry, I changed the screen. Anyways, yeah.
No,
So
it's
I
fine.
think I want to say. You give me the final score. You didn't give me the final score. Anyway, 45-25. Thank you, Ali. There you go.
So
45
yeah,
to
so I
25.
kind of just want to touch base just because we kind of talked about it. But they have a sick team. That team is pretty sick. You have the two twin
Oh
brothers
yeah.
on the team. You have
Mhm.
Keon.
Yeah, Von Vansley,
Uh,
Marcus, those boys. Yeah,
you have Kyle.
and the
Yeah,
thing
you
is, these
have
guys have been together
Anthony.
for a while.
Yeah, you have a really good, solid group of guys that have been playing for a while. So
Yep.
Henry's kind of there, and then you have a good. The rusher is 10 feet tall with Michael.
Oh, Schiller.
Michael. Yeah, exactly. So
Schiller,
it's
Schiller,
a
first Schiller,
great.
my bad. So the Michael, yeah, Michael Schiller. Yeah, he's good.
That's a great
I tried to get him
rush.
on my team. I'm not gonna lie, he's good.
You have the two speedy twins that
Yes,
definitely can
Brandon
go over the
twins. Yep.
top and they can make plays. That's a sick roster, especially for division um, D1. I mean, like I think that's borderline in division. That could be easily. If you tell me that's a division C, I feel that's fine. I think the only downfall they have is their quarterback. Um, he's getting better, but he's
Yeah,
not
Von
a
Vansley.
division.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's getting
Yeah,
better.
he's not at the Division C level, but I think that's like the only um, situation where they would be struggling if they go C. But I feel like this team is going to go far. Like kind of looking at it again, there's also really good teams.
Sure,
Division D1, there's
sure.
there's really good teams. Again, like we have Peacemakers, we have Stone and Degens. Again, with Adam Malinoff, Peacemakers. I think that's with Rossi. And that's a veteran team. You have the double dip. That's kind of moved out of the co-ed scene. Kind of got a couple guys and made a Division D1 team, which kind of good to see. We have the
Yeah, I noticed
studs.
that. I noticed that. Yep.
Yeah, we have the studs that are usually one of the good teams. You have the Ball Hawks with Richie as well too. With Xavier Coetzee as quarterback, I actually got to watch some their game I think a couple of weeks ago where they played the Nighthawks and they in the Laval, yeah, they had a pretty good win. So I mean, like you have good, there's good teams in general, right? But I think as experience and kind of just chemistry, I think this is they're definitely one of the top five teams. Like right now, to be honest, the top five teams right now are like I'm not surprised that they're the top five teams. Studs, I think they're also going to make a little push coming down the stretch. I think they're going to be around a 7-3 team. So I don't think they're going to lose many more games. They're 3-2 right now. But again, Division D1 definitely a step. I would like to say because I feel like it's sometimes the roster's a bit. I'm not the roster. The teams are a bit weaker. Again, for people that are kind of right, Division D1 and Division D2 is exactly the same. The only difference is that in D1 there's a cap, and if you're closer to the cap, you go Division D1, and if you're lower to the cap, you go Division D2. And the reason why there's two divisions because there's 13 teams in Division D1, so I'm assuming there's 13 teams Division 2. So instead of making one division where you kind of get screwed during playoffs or maybe not play versus teams that you want to play against, they kind of just split in two and kind of have a Division D1 and Division D1 2. That
Makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so
Um,
anyways, good division. I'm curious to see if Snowden Jellies. I like if I'm looking on paper, I feel like Snowdon Delhi Degens are the team to beat. Just because I feel like Adam Malinoff is again we kind of talked about him. He's a great quarterback, and he it's a team that usually makes it pretty far unless they get kind of maybe screwed over. Or he just has a really bad game. I think if he's on his game, they definitely have a great path to try to win a championship this year.
yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, hopefully they'll stay on that right path, man. I mean, there's talent on that team, right? I don't see why they can't even put a couple more wins together. And like you said, head into the second half of the season, right? And head into the playoffs, ideally playing their best ball, and we'll see what's up with that. Um, I wanted to give a shout out to Division F, the Gamblers. In Division F, they got their first W of the season. They were 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4. They were 0 and 5. Right, so for them, their second half of the season started this past Saturday at Loyola. Big win over the Camwins, 24-19. So again, Gamblers last year finished 2-8 in Division 6A, and again they were 0 and 5. Right, it's not a pleasant season when you're 0-4, especially 0 and 5. Right, half the season's gone, but again they start off the second half of the season with a big W over the Camwins. Like I said, 24-19. It's looking at it here, so the game was 19-12 at the half for Cam wins. And then the Gamblers just came out, man, and they played some defense and they scored some points too, right? They scored their opponents 12-0 in the second half. Looking at it here, so shout out to Alex DeLuca, the quarterback, 11 of 18, 89 yards, not huge, but 4 TD passes. That solid Matthew Antonios, 3 of those touchdown passes went to him, so 90 yards, but 50 yards, pardon me. So shout out to him. And that defense as well, right? Antonios had an INT, 3 pass deflections, so he definitely came to play. The other side, friend of the show, Oscar McAvoy, who we had on a couple weeks ago, he had 111 yards, 3 TDs in that game. 2 of those they went to my main man, Peter Burris. Shout out to Peter Bertoldi, aka Peter Burris. He had 2 touchdowns in the game, but not enough to get the W. But again, shout out to the Gamblers getting their first W of the season. I had a chance actually to talk to Matthew Antonios. He texted me. He plays on my team in C, and he texted me after the game. And he's like, "Finally, we got that first W. Feels good to kind of get the monkey off their backs, whatever." And he goes, "We're gonna obviously try to keep this on now for the rest of the year." He's like, we figured it out. He goes, "That was a problem for our team. We weren't getting it right on both sides of the ball." He goes, "We figured it out." Um, He's like they move some guys around on defense, which sometimes that's what you need to do, right? Things aren't working, especially on defense. You got to change positions, change your attack, right? Change the coverage you're doing or you're playing, I should say. And he said, yeah, he said it worked for them, and he's like, we won't lose again. So it's like, all right, dude, bet. Like again, they're 1 and 5 on the season. I'm looking to see their upcoming schedule right now. They have Vic's Doghouse coming up. Not this Saturday, so but we said the Saturday after July 11th. I think that's maybe 2 Saturdays from now. My bad. So July 11th, yeah, 2 Saturdays. Vic's Doghouse. Then they have Two Box. Baby Sharks and to finish out the regular season with Sweet Bonanzas. So I mean, there's at least two winnable games in there. So we'll have to see if they can maybe get it up to at least match last year's win total of two and perhaps take it to 3 or 4. Looking at the playoffs here for playoff breakdown for Division F, right? So 16 teams make the dance, and there are 22 in all, right? So the Gamblers are in 20th place out of 22. So they're gonna have to win out, ideally, or at least win 3 out of the last 4 and get some help. So hopefully they do it. I'm pulling for you guys. But again, big win and congratulations, first W of the season for the Gamblers.
Yeah, it's a huge win for them, especially they beat Carmen's, which is a good team. I remember Oscar. I actually saw Oscar posting that they needed a player, so hopefully they
Yeah.
did end up getting that player to play in that game. But big wins for the Gamblers again. It's a big division, right? There's 22 teams in the division, and you're kind of saying only 16 make it. So you got to start getting wins earlier than later. They played 6 games, so they're kind of one of the teams. Well, actually, most of these teams have played 6 games. So, I mean, time is ticking. At the end of the day, if you do want to make playoffs, which most teams want to do playoffs, you don't want to wait till week 8. You don't want to wait till basically week 8 where you're one in kind of 6, 7, and then you win a game, and then you're kind of hoping for a team to win, and then this team to lose, and you're like out here doing math, and it becomes you're kind of like not crazy, but you're out here looking at schedules to see who could win. You start doing because that's what I did last season, where I kind of I should have we should have won games. We didn't win games, and it was to the point where I remember I was doing the math, and I was like, okay, if they lose and this team wins, and if we can win our game by 12, and they have to make sure this team scores 26 points, and it's just so much math. And at the end of the day, like just win the games you should win, and the games that you should lose, make sure you don't lose by too many, because at the end of the day, it might come and get you. It might come bite you back at the end of the day, And that's one thing that you kind of have to realize. And again, you also want to have fun doing it, but you want to get wins. Get wins earlier on. Make everything so much easier on you.
100%, 100%. That's the worst, man. Like you're, I mean, it's what makes it exciting for us, right? Like working for the league. Like when you have those week 10, week 11, or sometimes 12, 13, no matter depends how long the season goes. When you have those games coming down to the wire, it's like, who's going to get in? Is it going to be win and get in or win and get some help? It's exciting for us. But when you're on one of those teams who like, yeah, we got to win our last 2 games and then we need team X or team Y to lose, or we need a tie or something. You know what I mean? Like it's stressful. It's 100% stressful. So you're right. Get as many wins as you can. The earlier the better, right? So then you're not scoreboard watching at the stretch run of the regular season, right?
No, 100%.
Um,
Just to also kind of before we get into the division, just to kind of finish off with Division F, Baby Sharks,
mhm.
very good team. Again,
Yep.
we've seen this team before, but very very good team. I saw them play at Loyola, playing versus Bug Sacks. Kind of just briefly, kind of looking there, here and there. To be honest, I wasn't even sure it was them because they were on field 1 and I was like on field 4 on the other side. But they got a great win there, and I was kind of looking at their schedule. They actually have the opportunity to go 10-0, and I think, to be honest with you, this team's been in this league. I want to say this is their third season. Just go back here. So yeah, this is their. So they started back in spring 2024 in Division E, and then they went F, and then So they went E, then 5A, and then now they're back to F. So they kind of went like bottom, and then 5A, and then they went back to F. Again, all the caps and things kind of switch. So you go into the division that fits. I know they had kind of maybe they had a switch of some of their players, but right now they're doing great. I'm sure they're pretty happy the fact that they're 6-0. I know it's always fun when you're having a win this season and you feel like you're untouchable. So I know right now I think they're having a great time. They're winning games by big. They're winning games big. Their toughest matchup was that game versus Bug Sacks where they won 24-19. So I know they're feeling pretty good about themselves. And also, Sweet Bonanza, we kind of mentioned them. They're going to end up playing versus Gamblers the last game of the season. They've played
Yeah.
versus each other before. They both have been in the same division. I think maybe two times or three times. They're usually a team that they end up playing versus each other. I think Sweet Bonanza usually a team that does win, but also kind of shout out to these guys that right now they're 5-1. I believe last season they did struggle. I don't think they went too well. I think they went 2-8. So the fact right now they're kind of leading this division 5-1. They won most of their games by a big amount of scores. Their closest game was against 1664 Les Blancs, where they won that game 31-28. And the only loss so far was against they lost versus Clic du Chapeau, where they
Yeah.
lost 28-13. So I mean, for them, I think they're pretty happy the fact that they're 5-1 compared to
Mhm.
last couple seasons when they were struggling.
I hear you. I hear you. I just want to stick with F for one more game. As a game I score cap. Just want to give a shout out to these guys. It's actually a pretty entertaining game. It was the Jamaican bobsled team taking on Don't Touchdown here. 5 minutes into that, 10 minutes into the game, I thought it was going to be over. It was 18-6 for Don't Touchdown here. It was weird. They started with a quarterback. So this guy, Kian Gupta Cartwright, big tall guy actually, pretty good size too. He was playing quarterback. Didn't necessarily go so well. He played, I think, the first series. Wait, my apologies. Yeah, so they scored. It was basically, you know, when some guys go quarterback or some ladies go quarterback, and it's like, yeah, I don't think you're a quarterback. Like the ball comes all wobbly. It's not super accurate, but it is what it is. So then they put it in Alexi Palmero. Another guy with some not as like muscular, not as big, but a long guy, fast, right? So this guy, both guys came on. I'll be honest, both guys have no business playing quarterback. I'll be brutally honest. They both seem like good guys and they're really good athletes and they have a lot of size. So in the case of Gupta Cartwright, he made a lot of plays for his team at receiver, and then Palmero, sorry, Palomaro, pardon me. He got the ball in his hands and he started running and he had like two runs for like 44 yards and a touchdown. The game, like they were dominating the first like 10 minutes of the game. Defensively, both guys made some plays as well for their squad. And then it is kind of like they were up 18-6 at the half. Right. I was like, this game is over. And I was talking to the referee, and they're like, Jamaican Bobsled's been in this league for a while. Shouldn't he be better than this? And I was like, yeah, they kind of should be. And credit to these guys, they didn't quit. They had it was just a disaster on offense in the first half, but they came out in the second half. So Stephen Polizzi, he kind of put the game on his shoulders. He's making some plays throwing, making some plays running as well. Lucas Mariani, yeah, he made some plays. Shout out to the big man, Julio Scarpetta as well. These guys long story short, they were just making some plays. I like this team. Like Lorenzo Fusser, Roberto Picciola. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Like these guys are scrappy. This is why I like the Jamaican bobsled team. Are they the most talented? No, not at all. But they're scrappy. They play hard. They don't quit. And you know what? They ended up coming back. They outscored their opponents 19-0 in the second half to take the game 25-18. And it was like it was a team effort. It wasn't just a one guy was dominating. Like Stephen Polizzi, some of his toes were a little off. So he said, I'm gonna beat this team with my legs. He had 7 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown wearing a bucket hat. And I was just like, you know what? I respect these guys. And I like the other team too. Like I was like, Don't Touchdown here is one of the teams I hadn't seen yet this year. They got some athletes. They just gotta either the quarterbacks just need more time or they have to find an actual quarterback. But they had some athletes on that team, right? That I came away and I was like, these guys can make some plays. These guys aren't horrible. Like Division F is the right place for both teams. I know Jamaican bobsled team has a bit more experience, but if they can get some confidence and just as little things that they're missing, like concepts and knowing what you're doing coverage wise, right? Some guys are covering
Yeah,
grass. You can't have that, right? When you're running routes, you can't have two guys running to the same place, right? So it's just timing and concepts and stuff. Once you get a bit more experience, you make a boss, so team should go back up where they were before. And again, Don't Touchdown here. A nice team. I like the athleticism all around, like not just those two guys, like their entire roster. They can figure out this quarterback situation. I think they'll be all right in the future. And I just want to give a shout out because I score kept that game, and it started off like, oh boy, and then the weather, obviously, you were there with me on Saturday, right? The weather was horrible. Hence why we canceled a bunch of games. But yeah, my bag is still wet. I'm scorekeeping today. Like that was Saturday or Tuesday. And I kind of got home Saturday and I left it in my trunk and I didn't touch my trunk until like Monday. I was going to work and I opened up my trunk. It was like a punch in the face. So
Yeah. No.
I put out the pylons. I put out the whole bag, the scoreboard. Last night on my balcony. I went to check this morning. It's not so bad. My shoes were still like wet. They were still damp. So I put those outside last night too. And I was like, yeah, it's torrential downpours are no fun, but it's still better than like we were saying. We were leaving together. Like, it's still better than snow. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Saturday was definitely not fun. It came out and it was like the weather was not bad, you know. It was like it kind of rained a bit to start
Yeah.
off, and then it kind of stopped. I was like, okay, it's gonna be nice, and all of a sudden, just came down, and I was like, oh, I was kind of laughing. The ref Jason, I forgot his last name, or the ref Jason. If you know Jason, you know Jason. Um, so I was subbing. So again, I played at 12, and then I played at 2, and then I was subbing for 3, and then I was playing at 4. So I was pretty much playing all day. And the 3 o'clock game, I was gonna help out Benny and his Vultures team. They're missing some guys. They're playing ECW. So the game's about to start. I'm kind of on the sideline, just kind of chilling, letting the guys go in. And I think the first play, it was a catch for like maybe three, a catch to Kevin Duet,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was a catch to Kevin Duet for about 5-6 yards. I was like, okay, Kevin, let's go, good catch. And then all of a sudden, the thunder like hit twice. It was like, phew, phew. The ref kind of just blew. I never seen a ref leave the field so fast. All I hear is
Smart.
he blows whistle like 3 times. He already has his bag. Like everything was already set. Grabbed his bag
Smart.
and he was
Smart.
gone. He's like, good night,
Yeah,
guys.
this
Have a
is
good
clear.
night.
This is clear. Damn right. Smart man. Get out of there. Hell yeah.
I'm out of here.
Hell
And
yeah.
then pretty much that was it, you know. So I found that kind of funny, uh, fact how fast he kind of left, and then they kind of canceled the 3 o'clock games got canceled, and the 4 o'clock games got canceled. So I mean, I didn't get to play my 2 last games. I didn't get to do my my cardio that I would. I was actually in the mood, you know, since I was there. I was already wet, so at that point,
Yeah, you already. Yeah. At that point, yeah.
might as well just get it out there, get out the way. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's about safety, and like it wasn't the greatest weather, you know, so I wasn't complaining when I was leaving. I wasn't complaining about going home. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But I found it kind of funny how fast Jason kind of just got out there. I never seen someone leave a sporting event that fast. Like just
Smart. Not messing
gone.
around, man.
And the guys were just kind of looking at it, but they're like, "Is he serious?" Like
Yes.
gone. Like
100%.
just kept walking. Didn't turn back. Didn't look back. Just
I'm gonna see you guys later. Good luck with all that thunder and lightning. I mean, the opposite, right, is Stephen Donald. So Jason Cloutier you're talking about, but Stephen Donald, the referee, he was on the other field on the Mason F side, and he kept on playing because like the field I was on, Leo. So I was refereeing with I had Phoebe, so Leo's had a Phoebe Gervais, and I had Ryan, so I had Ryan Perry. So I'm looking at Ryan like, yeah, I'm out of here, dude. He's like, yeah, bro, this weather, bro. You know how Ryan is. So
yeah.
they were gone. So as soon as that thunder hit the second time, I look at Leo. Leo's like, let's ask Ben. Ben's like, yeah, let's all get out of here. And like, yeah, Stephen Donald on the Amazing App kept on going for like another 5 minutes. Cause
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, that's what I saw.
yeah, like no one told me. It's like, why would you need someone to tell you? It's thunder and lightning. Get out of there. I'm upset.
Kind of getting back to what I was kind of saying since I kind of talked about Division A, just to kind of talk about it very quick. Again, there's 2 games supposed to be played. One of them got canceled, so Easy Fun versus Vulture didn't get played. But we actually got to see Fins Up play versus the Braves, where Fins Up got a huge win, winning 54-38. Again,
Nice,
Braves didn't have their full roster. They did have Joe Meyer, so I mean, Joe
There you
Meyer.
go. That's good enough. That's good enough.
He went 14 for 21, 193 yards, 4 TDs, and 3 INTs. So Fins Up defense definitely did a good job to kind of, make the best reads. They also did a really good job on converts. They scored So the game finished 54-38. Fins Up got 6 2-point converts. So they literally got 2 extra touchdowns. And then
Yeah.
you had Maximilian Sanador.
Maximilian, yeah.
Yeah,
His last name.
he had
So I'm trying to find his
4
number.
2-point
Yeah.
converts. Karim Anthony had Sadori, sorry, Maxim Sadori had 4 2-point converts. Karim got Anthony had 1, and then Justin Wade also had 1. And then Justin Wade also had a pick 6 on Joe Meyer, so I'm pretty sure he was happy about that. But again, shout out to Fins Up. Again, good win for them. It kind of brings them up to 2-3. They were kind of struggling at 1-3. So getting a good win on the Braves, even though they weren't the full roster. At the end of the day, a win's a win.
Yeah, 100%. And I know, so you talked about obviously like, not all the Braves were there, but you know who they did have, right? So okay, so like I said, Joe was there, Joe Mayo, obviously Emil Chateauvert, Mike Pearson. They had Weedings Alexander. So U of M receiver. He plays. Oh God, I forget what team he plays. I was writing about him the other day. He plays in Division B. I know that for sure. My apologies. I'll get the name of the team he plays for. But they also had a blast from the past. They had on their team. Let me just make sure before I shoot my mouth off, I'm talking about the right person. I should be because I've seen this guy play. Yeah, a blast from the past. Georges Garapi played
Yeah,
for
I
the
saw.
Braves.
I saw. He looked good. They had a recording on him too that he had a catch on the sideline. But he looked,
Mhm.
it's JB. He looked good. He still plays though, but I think he plays in the Joliet League. So it's not like
Right,
he's
right, right.
it's not like he's coming off the couch. He's been playing, just
Okay,
not in
so
FPF.
yeah, okay, so I'll put some context beside it. So for those who don't know who George Garapi is, like, well, who's George Garapi? He arguably after Joe Mahir might be the best player to ever play for the Braves. And when I say that, I'm talking with even guys like James Drysdale, Jeremy Murphy, Mike Pearson, obviously, Jenny Chevalier, Phil Ferran, Will Trache, Gil Mellon, those guys. They're all great, but George Garapi is one of the reasons why the Braves are the Braves. Him along with Joe Mahir, like so. Leo Gervais, so shout out to Leo. Leo calls. He said this years ago during one of the broadcasts. He calls George Garapi the bus driver. He goes because he's taking everybody to school when he's on the field, and can't really argue with that. This guy, if you could, if this is like Madden, right? You could create a player, and let's say, okay, you don't want to create a wide receiver. Let's say you want to create a tight end. This guy George Garapi, I'm gonna guess he's at least 6'3", 6'4". He has a super long reach. He catches anything thrown in his direction. He still has some pretty good speed, even back in the day in his prime, right? He has some speed. This guy catches everything. He'll mosh you. He'll do whatever. Anyways, um, phenomenal player. He hasn't really been a part of FPF since I believe 2024. I'm looking here was his last, I think, full-time season. So like you said, I think he's playing in Joliet, right? Obviously, it makes sense. The Braves run Joliet. But anyways, he came out and he did his thing, and it's no surprise. He's one of those guys like think of like hey, the Rams right now, right? They made that Myles Garrett trade and it's talking about Aaron Donald coming out of retirement. Maybe they want him to come out of retirement. No, I don't blame them. Like, and he could come in and is he gonna have like 3 sacks in a game? Or is Aaron Donald? So maybe he will. But will he have the very least be able to generate some pressure up the middle? And maybe get a sack or two, or some tackles for losses, 100%. And that's what Gary P can do, right? He had 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown, so that's not gonna pop, right? But he played a little defense. He had 2 tackles. He had a pass deflection, and if anything else, he's a decoy, right? And he's able to
Yeah,
help him get other guys open. And again, he's a mountain of a man, and it's nice to see him back in the league. Uh, Sucks it's on a losing end against Fins Up against. And shout out to Fins Up, like you said, right? 54 points. That's almost a 60 burger, right? That's something to write home about. I don't care who the Braves are missing. The Braves are one of those teams in FPF where they can be missing players and they'll still kick your butt. Right? They're that good. Guys are in tournaments all the time with this crew. Obviously, guys on Team Canada and so on and so forth. Right? It's nothing new. They find guys, and this even Lorian Bushman. I mean, they find people to come in and just suit up and play. And I'll shout out to Lorian Bushman. Right? She's a female playing in the highest division here, and she got a touchdown. So shout out to
yeah.
her.
But she's
Again,
she's
even bigger shout out to Fins Up. Huge win for those guys. Low power, 250 yards, more or less, 6 TDs. Kara Aki, 5 TDs. 5 TDs. Now again, Braves are missing some guys, but you have to imagine at one point, Mahir and Mike and all those guys like, yeah, maybe we're gonna cover Carl Aki. Carl Aki said, all right, you can try to cover me if you want. I'm taking it to the house. 8 catches, 128 yards, and again 5 TDs. Shout out to him. And like I said, Justin White with the INT. Hensley Adams, another veteran. He had an INT as well. So I'm impressed with this Fins Up win. I'm really impressed. Again, doesn't matter who was there, who wasn't there for the Braves, and the Braves aren't going to make excuses, right? So
No, exactly.
good win for
What's
Fins
that?
Up, 2-3. Braves first loss, 4-1. It's going to be interesting
Yeah,
to see what happens the rest of the way, right? Every team has played 5 games except for the Vultures, again 0-4. So we'll have to see if the Vultures could kind of get off the schneid, right? They're the only team left in this division without a W. Vultures have, the Braves. So they take
yeah,
on the
they have the Braves,
Braves next
and then we
Sunday.
have the one stop and fins up matchup for next week for week 7 is also going
Yeah.
to be
That's gonna be huge. That's gonna be a really. I'm gonna try and make it out to that game. Where is it?
that is going to be in Laval.
Vultures one
Oh no,
stop. Oh,
sorry, that's Stad Soccer. Sorry, Stad Soccer on Monday, July 6th.
okay. Okay, I'll try and check that out. July 6th. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm playing. I'm not playing. I'll try and check that out. Okay.
Yeah. So again, I was gonna say something about. I was gonna just like kind of end it off by saying the Braves, whatever. They still had a good roster. Like that roster, that 6-man
Yeah.
roster. Is
Yeah.
Lokian's been playing in men's division for so long. I think I played her
Mhm.
like 4 or 5 years ago. I think
Yeah,
she's
she can
probably
ball.
one of the top two-way females as well too, women's as well too.
100%. 100%.
Stud player. So I mean, like she understands concepts, and sometimes there is a disadvantage when it comes like to a jump ball and stuff like that. But her and John Mayer also are good on what's it called?
Faith.
Sorry, no chemistry. Like
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
we've been
They've been
playing
together for a long time. Yeah.
for a while too.
Yeah.
So that roster, I mean, at the end of the day, like let's just say if Braves won that game, we'd be like, yeah, of course they won. It's Braves, But the fact that
Braves.
Fins up
Exactly.
won,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh, okay, like let's go Fins, the Fins up. Plus, I feel like it gets balance to the division too,
Yeah. Yeah.
Something kind of want also I kind of wanted to shift now back to women's B. I don't know if you had anything else to say for Division A.
That division, there's something I want to get for Division D too, but yeah, go first. Go women's B.
Okay, women's B. So I actually got to watch the Merge versus the Wolfpack. So I was kind of interacting. We were kind of talking about it. I was like, oh, this game should be pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So to be honest with you, the game wasn't bad at all. I ended up finishing 21-7 for the Wolfpack. So they ended up winning this. They ended up winning this game. The Merge had a very hard time going down the field. Their drives were stalled. The quarterback threw. Pretty sure. Sorry, I just want to bring up the game here. But yeah, anyway, so I was kind of watching it. I felt like at first I thought the Merge were doing a pretty good job, but then I felt like they were stalling a lot when it came after midfield. I feel like they had a hard time kind of getting in the end zone. Sarah
Okay.
Maule Hamel went 13 for 31, 131 9 yards, 1 TD and 4 INTs. So I feel like they were driving down, and at one point they like hit a brick road where they couldn't score. And then their defense was pretty much balling out the first half. They only allowed 7 points. Second half, again, like there's only so much you could do for a defense. I feel like only allowing 21 points is not bad at all, but only scoring 7 is where it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think so. I think that's the biggest issue. That's the biggest thing. And then when your quarterback's throwing 4 INTs, it's hard to win a game. Convert wise, I mean, Wolfpack did a great job and they got the job done. But I think from all, like, it was a good game. Like it was kind of going back and forth. Wolfpack's defense played amazing. They had a couple picks here and there. They had a couple bat downs, couple stops, good tackles. Like in all, they did a great job. And Ellen D.
Oh, Elodie Seminole. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a
I was gonna
stud.
say.
Yeah,
Baller.
she's a stud. I know. I remember I watched her play when she was at Montreal, University of Montreal. She's not there anymore, but she was kind of one of the first women's that were kind of there playing for the team. I want to say. I think that's where I kind of remember where they were called Montreal U. So she played back in winter 2023. That's why kind of Montreal was kind of establishing, and they're kind of doing the women's flag football and stuff like that. So she's like a vet, you know. So now she's kind of playing the Wolfpack. I believe this is her second season with these girls, but she's definitely a stud, a great defender, great defender again. I think she played defense on Montreal, but again, if you kind of could translate to offensively too, and which you kind of could see again, she had 6 catches, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns, and on defense she had 6 tackles and 2 ints.
Yeah,
So she's
exactly.
definitely a big factor for the Wolfpack this season.
No, 100%. I mean, listen, it probably two-way player of the week, right? With a performance like that, I mean, that is what it is, right? You're leading your team 112 yards, like you said, 3 TDs, and then the 2 picks on defense. It doesn't get much better than that, right? She pretty much beat the team almost by herself. Again, her teammates obviously played a big role in that as well, but yeah, good job for her. And she was able to obviously get that W for her team. I'm just looking here though. So yeah, Lorianne Lapointe, yeah, she was a quarterback. She did a good job. I'm just looking schedule wise. I know we talked about the Wolfpack the last couple of weeks now, right? Like I said, I did their game against Originals. That didn't work out so well, 31-6. But in the Wolfpack, right? A big win last 2 Saturdays ago now, just playing again over Hebrew, right? 26-7. And again, 21-7 now over the merge, right? So smothering defense, opportunistic offense, right? They're getting points on the board. They're playing the merge again, right? So there's a bye this week. So on July, thankfully. July 11th, they have a rematch against the Merge, right? So obviously the Merge are going to look to be better, especially offensively. Like you said, getting past midfield and doing something. And they're going to look to score more than the 7 points they put up. So it's going to be interesting because the Wolfpack, they have the Merge, like I said. After that, they have the Cavaliers, and they finish off with Supernova. Right. So looking at the standings right now in the women's B division, right? Um, with that win, Wolfpack with 2 wins in a row now. Wolfpack went from pretty much the basement to now they're tied for, well, technically they're in 5th, but they're tied points wise of Hebrew, who's in 2nd, Supernova, who's in 3rd, and now the Merge, who are in 4th. Though I believe now Wolfpack should actually be ahead of the Merge if they beat the Merge, but whatever. So it's gonna set up an interesting last couple of weeks of the season. Only thing Wolfpack, again, they have 7 games played already, right? So everyone else has a game in hand on them. So if you're Wolfpack, I don't want to say they have to win out, but they have to win at least 2 out of the next 3 games to really, really jump up in the standings.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, one thing I kind of realized with a lot of these teams, I feel like everyone kind of can beat everybody. That's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Wolfpack's a team. I
Yeah.
think their defense is definitely going to carry them a long way. As long as also their offense as well too. As long as Lukian Lapointe could play a good game because she's the quarterback for this team. As long as she's able to play a good game, because usually it's I think she's going Q for as long as she's able to have a good game and kind of drive the field. I think they'll be fine. Again, I think their defense is going to be one of their their high keys on kind of getting them as far as they're going to get to. As we kind of said, defense wins championships. I think they're going to have to really rely on their defense when it comes to a point where their offense struggles. But
Mhm.
I even if like right now they have momentum, they've won 2 big games. Again, they're playing the merge. I'm telling you now, I'm telling you now, I'm pretty sure the merge is coming out here with a vengeance. They're a type of girls that adapt and they're very good at adjustments. So for sure, they're doing their film work. They're talking. They're coming into this game with a vengeance, coming back to play the Wolfpack. So I think this game again, I think they'll 50-50 depending on both offenses. And then they got Cavaliers and they got Supernova. You're kind of saying like even if they go, as I say, they lose 2 out of the 3, they end up going
Mhm.
4-6. I think they're fine at the end of the day. I think with Sorcertees, I don't think they're going to win that many games. So 4-6 will definitely get in the playoffs. Cavs are also struggling at 1-3. I don't think they're going to win that many games either. They're going to probably end up finishing maybe the 4th seed. I think they're fine. Looking on the playoffs, 1 and 2 get by. They'll play the 5th seed, so they'll probably maybe make a rematch with the merge again. I think the third time they play against them, I think they'll be able to beat them. It's not the greatest matchup, but I think it's probably one of the most realistic matchups in the playoffs. Going down the list, I think it's a matchup where they wouldn't mind as much compared to like a lot of the other teams where they have no name, like where they have named players, like kind of like the originals and kind of like Hebrew as well too. But Hebrew's, I mean, they're kind of struggling as well too, right? They dropped. Well, I mean, they did lose that game versus the Wolfpack by 19, right? So we don't get to see Hebo play until so they were supposed to play May 1st. That did not happen, so that's going to get rescheduled. Their next game is Monday, June 29th. So they're going to play next week. We're going to see how they play versus the originals. But I think like it's open up. I don't think the Wolfpack kind of have to worry where they place. They just have to make sure that they're ready to go when it comes to playoffs.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. Okay. So I just wanted to touch really quickly on something I noticed here in Women's C. So I know, well, today's Tuesday, June 23rd. So next Tuesday, there's gonna be a big party. There's going to be a big matchup. It's going to be so Run Like a Girl right now. They are in first place with a 5-0 record. They're going to be taking on Obsidian, who are 5-1. Now the one loss for Obsidian came against Run Like a Girl. That was back earlier in the regular season. I believe it was week 2 that loss was 25-0. Yeah, it was week 1. So yeah, week 1 down at Loyola, 25-0. Run Like a Girl beat Obsidian in that contest. Adele Nadeau, 112 yards, 2 TD passes. She had Jasmine Moody and Alexandra Fabi for touchdowns, and the defense got a pick 6 from Marianne Verdi. And they got 4 INTs. Yes, 4 from Marguerite Thifo. So huge W there. And Nadeau, who threw for 2 touchdowns, had a running touchdown as well. Quarterback Lori Cristofaro she went 8 of 23 for 31 yards and 5 INTs. Obviously not the outing she wanted. But again, since that loss, right, for Obsidian, they've gone on from there to win 4 straight and yeah, they got on to win 4 straight and 5 out of 6 overall, probably 4 to 5 overall. Sorry, 5 out of 6 overall. That's what I'm saying. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, hence why they're 5-1. So a big matchup that's going to take place next Tuesday, June 30th in Brassard. So I'll be there. I'll be watching that game. We'll talk about that on the next time we film, which I think will be after next Tuesday. I also want to give a shout out here quickly for in this division. So Run Like a Girl actually had a W this past Sunday against A-Town Black. They won 32-14 in that victory. Again, from Run Like a Girl. So I'm just waiting for it to pop up on my screen here. And of course, because I want to talk about it, it's taking forever. Yeah, 25-6 at the half. Run Like a Girl was ahead of A-Town Black, and then they actually got outscored by A-Town Black 8-7 in the second half. I just want to give a shout out to Marine Verdi, pardon me, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. And the quarterback, who I talked about before, Adele Nadeau, had 5 touchdown passes in the game. So solid outing by them. FIFO, she didn't have 4 picks this time. She only had 1, so good job by her. And Flavie Cartier had 2 sacks in that game. So again, a big win by Run Like a Girl over A-Town Black. Just wanted to give those teams and those players a shout out here for Women's C.
Before we kind of move to the next division, I also want to talk about Lioness and Women's C as well too. They won their third game now, so they're 3-4.
Nice.
Kind of a big switch. The only thing concerns me is their roster. It's literally anybody. Like it's kind of. I think they're like from what I heard. I kind of talked to Brianna about it. Some of the girls are just not showing up, so they're kind of getting subs every single week. For this week, they had the quarterback Magali Dislandi.
Delon, yeah, Magali Delon.
So she came to play. This is her third game playing. I believe she's not usually the quarterback, so maybe they're kind of going with her. It's usually Elodie Giroux that usually plays quarterback, but who knows? Again, Magley's been playing a bit. She played co-ed um, for Tea Party, I want to say, and then she also played women's. I forgot what their team, but she came in. She had a good game. They beat the Rock 26-6. So we're kind of talking about it. We're kind of saying that game was kind of big to see who was kind of the bottom of the team, right? But what kind of
Mm-hmm.
concerns me is that this roster is you have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 29 players on this roster. So
Yeah,
meaning
yeah.
in most situations, let's just say you're 10 or 11 girls and women on this
Offense, you get
team,
defense, special
that means you had
teams.
18 subs. That's
Yep.
insane. So what kind of concerns me is like since they're week 7, right? So they played 7 games. So there's only 3 games left. So you have to have 5 games minimum to qualify, right? So I already have one, two, three, four, five, six.
Three
Sorry.
players.
Look, the girls that are qualified, there's one, two, three,
Three.
or that can qualify,
Three.
four,
No, four,
five,
whatever. Yeah.
6. So I think they can technically, mathematically, unless they have some doctor's note, they only can have 6 girls to qualify on this 20 man roster. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see. Because all the women's that have 3 games, I have 1 game, they can't qualify anymore because they won't have up to 5. And then it's only the girls that have they can have 2 games, but they only have one girl. And then you kind of have the veterans. You have Brianna at 4. Then you have LD Jahul. She's at 5. Magalie's at 3. Megan Odette is at 5. And then that's about it. So you have 5 there, and then you have to kind of hope Matillion Barrel plays the next 3 games, so you can have 6 girls that kind of be able to have at least 6 girls when it comes down to playoffs. So like, unfortunately for them, like great the fact that they won, they have 3 games won, but you're gonna have to try to for next season. You're gonna have to have a better consistent roster for this team.
Yeah. Again, well, we said it already, right? Earlier in the show, we talked about that, right? Like having who's going to be there this week, and it's great to have. You can field literally a whole football team with 3 players, almost a whole football team. But like, yeah, come playoff time, like you said, there's only about 6 players who are going to be eligible to qualify. Like you said, unless there's a couple of doctors' notes or excuses or whatever the case may be. So we'll have to see. Again, they're a fun team to watch. Lioness. Again, we talked about their struggles last year. This year is pretty much a brand new team. They are fun to watch. I think I've scorekept I think one of the games or maybe 2, but I have watched them while I've been scorekeeping or like even on other fields or even when I've been playing. They are a fun team to watch. Hopefully they can put together some more wins because 3-4 again, it's a far cry from where they were last year. So credit to these girls, these ladies, pardon me, on well, the ones that were there last year for sticking through this tough season. And now this is why you stick to it, and the cream rises to the top and all that good stuff, right? I mean, so credit to them. Um, I want to jump for a second to another game I score kept. So I have 2 more games. So one Division D2. And we talked about D1 earlier with Keon's team. I want to give a quick shout out to D2. PSTM. They took on Steels Saturday in the rain at Concordia. This was kind of an interesting game. It was entertaining. It was 22-20 at the half for PSTM. Both teams, because of the weather, like there's a ton of drops and miscoverages in that and slipping. Both teams only scored 1 touchdown each in the second half. Hence why it's 28-26 was the final in favor of PSTM. But it was a good game. So Jesse Carlarse came a couple minutes late. So Julio Scarpetta, who played for Jamaican Boss, he ended up subbing and playing quarterback. He went 0 for 2. And then Carlarse got there and he did his thing. A guy I've talked about tons of times on the podcast, Jordan Lee. This guy needs to play in a higher division. Jordan Lee, he's the tallest guy, no, but he's fast and he plays aggressive. He's always around the ball. Uh, James Masiocha as well. He's another guy should be playing a higher division. This guy made play after play after play for his squad. Antonio Venturino as well. He actually got the winning touchdown, I believe, in the game. Because the final drive there with PSTM. Like these guys are tough. They're 2-4 right now. And I know last season they struggled Whereas the first season they came in and we talked about them. I think the first year we did the pod, and they were tearing it up. And they made the finals. I believe they won actually PSTM for whatever division they were playing in. So a bit of a setback last year in terms of losing a bit, but that makes you better sometimes. You get humbled a little bit and you realize it's not as easy as you think. But they took on a Steelers team. So the Steelers team, I hadn't seen them. I've seen the name, but I hadn't seen them play. So they have this guy, 007 is his number. Yes, I'm not kidding you. 007, Jeremy Martinet. This guy can ball. This guy, like, he catches almost everything in his direction. He's super athletic. He's long. He's fast. He had 8 catches, 112 yards, and 2 TDs. And I came away thinking this guy also needs to be playing with like in a higher division because again, the division D2 is solid. But this guy, from what I saw, I was like, this guy could definitely be playing at least Division C. Like, I think with a better, you surround him with some better talent, it'll help him out even more. I know he's played, yes, I know I've seen him before. Yeah, he played Never Overtime. Yeah, I remember I played against him a couple years ago. That's where I know him from. My apologies. Plays on Never Overtime. So, okay, so he does play in a higher division. So that kind of makes my point mute. But again, moot point or not, this guy came out. I was impressed with what he did. There's a couple of the guys. So there was number 10, Bassar Rex Heavy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anthony Chevalier. Like it's a team game. Like both, the game got a little rough, not to the point where there was pushing and shoving and trash talking, but both teams were playing physical, but respectfully physical, which I like. There's a couple of plays where guys jumped up for balls and both guys hit the turf real hard. There was no, hey, what are you doing? And yelling and being a fake tough guy and all that. I like those physical games that kind of stay within the rules. They walk that line of the rules of physical or maybe a little too physical, but not physical enough. Like I like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, shut up, PSTM big win. Like I said, they got the winning touchdown, I believe, on I think it was the last play of the game, I want to say, or the second to last play of the game. So I'm just trying to check it out here. Again, I believe it was Ontario Venturino. So they go to the play-by-play. Sorry, these games were all kind of jumbled in my head at one point or another. Yeah, so they got the winning touchdown.
Have it here.
You know, I'm wrong about that. No,
It
sorry,
was.
I'm wrong. He didn't get the winning touchdown. I felt like he got the winning touchdown for some reason. Well, technically he did. Okay, my bad. So he did. I'm not wrong. Venturino did get the winning touchdown for his team. The ball went back. Yeah, the ball went back to Steels. They scored a touchdown to make it a 2 point game. They went for the 2 point convo and they didn't get it. I believe actually Venturino might have batted the ball down on the 2 point attempt. And then PSTM got the ball back. They kind of just ran out the clock and whatever. But anyways, a good game between two teams who play really hard and play real physical. It was nice to see.
Yeah, so that's one thing that's kind of like crazy. You think about it, like this league has so many divisions, and you're kind of like, I always laugh when people are like, oh yeah, I can play Division C, and then you check Division C, you're like, maybe I can't play Division C. You're like, okay, let me check Division D. Like the Division D is still crazy talent, athletic
Both
players.
D1 and D2, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's like that's the reason we were like, oh, how do you have a Division F? And it's because like you have like how you Division F, how you have Division E, and it's because you have these guys that like kind of like that don't really know how to play football, and for some reason they end up in Division E or Division D, and it's like they're like, no, this is too fast for me. Like I
Yeah,
can't play
yeah.
in this. And we're okay, fine, we'll have Division E, and then even in Division E, sometimes you have all these good talent, you have all these good teams. You're like, okay, this is not for me either. And then now you have Division F, where at the end of the day, sometimes you have these late bloomers, or you have these powerhouse teams where they're not a Division F team, and then they're okay. All right, we'll give you guys Division E next season. But like, there's just so much talent, and it's just like it's Division B, Division A, Division C, Division D, Division. Like you're kind of seeing like how he's a guy that plays in Division D2, but he's played a season and with overtime in Division C, and he balled out. He had a good season. And now he's playing here, and you're just like, okay, like he's good, But as again, if you fit the cap, you fit the cap. You do what works,
Sure.
I
That's
also
true.
feel like everyone wants a championship at the end of the day. It's like you want a championship. So if you could win a championship by filling a roster that fits the cap, why not? I got asked to play. I forgot the message from, but it was from what was his name? I'm blanking here. It's been a long day, but he asked me to play like Division E, and I just said, and he's like, don't worry, the cap fits. I'm like, I'm like, I can't play. I can't. The fact is, like, he's like, yeah, but I saw you play Division D6 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I played Division 6 with the kids that I coach, so they're kind of growing up. If you put me on Division E team and I'm playing with grown ass men that kind of understand and they're built and they were not going to lose jump balls like that, people might have a riot like at the end of the day. Even though like I'm not saying like I'm crazy good, but it's to an extent where like I don't unless like you're a really good player, you're like and you're from X or an X or whatever, like from like say university and you're playing Division U with your friends like that. But like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I have no business. I told him like I have no business playing Division U. I'm sorry. He's like, you sure? Like you fit the cap. I'm like, maybe in a couple of years if I gotta want to win a championship later on, like maybe we could work
Yeah.
something. But at this point, like I'm still, I can still compete with most of the talent in FPF right now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Kind of.
Hi on. Yeah, quickly. So I score kept your game against against the merge. So the merge, yeah, leg on my flag against the merge. I think I should have recorded you and Sanders going at it the whole game. So for those of you guys that don't know, Sanders plays quarterback, plays in my team in the C. Quaysie plays little quarterback as well. The weather was horrible. Jeff, obviously, with the broken, I believe it's broken thumb, right? I think it is with Jeff.
Sprain.
Oh, sprain. All right, so spray. Yeah, okay.
Sprain.
So sprain. Spray,
Maybe sprain thumb. Maybe.
maybe sprain.
Sprain.
Okay. Maybe sprain. Anyways, Jeff Rosenblatt is not playing quarterback anytime soon, at least for the next month. I would say with that injury. So you and Sanders taking over at quarterback, and you guys arguing with each other in the huddle at the line of scrimmage, going back and forth between who should play. I know Sanders started off, it didn't go well. Then you came in, you threw a touchdown. Then Sanders put himself back in. You're like, why are you putting me back? Why are you putting yourself back in? I just threw a touchdown. Had a whole back and
Exactly
forth
my
this game in
point.
the whole game.
It didn't make any sense. I just finished throwing it. He has a drive where he goes. I think the first throw was good. The second throw was whatever, and he ends up turning the ball over. So the merge go down. I think they scored, and then I'm like, yo, let me go quarterback. So I go quarterback. I throw it as you saw. I throw a touchdown pass. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I think we even got a stop. So we get a stop. Go back on offense. He goes, no,
You
your
did.
time.
Yeah, did you? No, they got to stop on you. Yeah, okay, I see it right here. You okay?
On the
First two
first
plays
drive,
by
they
Sanders
stopped
were
us.
incomplete. Then he ran. Sorry.
Hey, no, sorry. On the first drive, they stopped us, but we stopped them. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they stopped. They stopped us. We stopped them, and then I
You
came
stopped
in
it.
and I
Yeah.
scored.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, you threw a 16-yard TD pass to McCary. So McCary
Yeah,
Bear,
exactly. So
yeah.
and then after they drove down, and I believe they ended up scoring on four. Yeah, they
They
scored
scored, yep.
fourth down where
Yeah.
Lara, the ball was like kind of thrown to Lara, and she like tipped it up, and Victor.
No, it's Matthew Graton. Matthew Graton got the
Yeah,
TD.
okay, yeah, he ended up catching it, which was technically I thought Lara was gonna bat it down. It was very close, and then
Yeah.
anyways. Where I'm getting at is that Sanders comes in and he's like, no, your time is done. Your time is done. I'm like, bro, how does that make sense? How do you take a guy out after he finishes scoring a touchdown? And the crazy thing is, he goes in there and he turns over the ball. So like he ruins my whole rhythm when I'm trying to get into a rhythm, turns over the ball, they end up scoring, and then I was like, let me go back quarterback. And after that, it didn't go so well, but I was off rhythm at that.
I know when you came back in, you threw like a duck in the air, and it's hilarious. I mean, in your defense, the ball was wet. It was pouring rain. Like can't get any footing. It was just funny like, that back and forth with you guys. Not just in that moment. The entire game, you guys were like talking trash to each other. It was hilarious.
Yeah, because I
It
was
was
also
hilarious.
telling him to drop me as second quarterback. And he's like, no, we're good. I'm like, bro, drop me as second quarterback. No one's catching me. Let me just give me the ball in the hands. Let me that. And then the last play of the game, around the last play of the game, he tells me a route, and he told, I think it was me and Bakari. He gave Bakari a 10-yard comeback, and he gave me a post. And I was like, yo, Sanders, if the guy that's playing corner, I think it was, I'm not sure, I don't remember who was playing on the corner on the right side, but if he ends up coming if it was Will Power, If Willpower ends up stepping up just a bit, hit me with the post. I'm gonna give the guy that was on me. I forgot his name too. I'm gonna give him like a kind of a corner post, but just throw the ball, just put it up in there. I'm gonna come down with it. So he looks at Power. Power is like kind of playing 50-50, throws like the ball out of bounds to Bakari, where he was kind of open to. The ball was a better throw, but it was a harder throw, incomplete. We ended up losing the game 12-9, 12-19. But like it was still fun at the end of the day. Like, I mean, the rain wasn't the greatest. It came out of nowhere, but after the fact that the rain, like when you're in the rain, like at the end that you're here, you might as well just get it over with. Like, I'm a guy that I don't mind playing in the rain. To be honest with you, like as long as there's no hitting and no one's coming for my head, and I don't have to worry about a helmet hitting my bones like that, I'm fine with the rain. I have no complaints. I'm okay with
it. That's fair. That's fair. I will say shout out to Gabrielle Mongrain. She had a big catch for a touchdown late in the game. I think Bakary was in coverage. I think he went to dive for the ball, and he just somehow he missed it, and she caught it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's funny. So yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, no, it's funny because like obviously, so you're in the game. You, Bakary, even on your team, right? You have Ethan Adrian, you have Sanders, Rosalie, Major as well. She made some plays the other side, right? So like guys like Victor Boutin, Will Power. Mongrel, Coralie, Leduc, right? Cleveland, Chloe Corbett, shout out to her. Like, all you guys have great hands. And, when the weather is how it was, right? It wasn't just like raining, it was like pouring. It was a torrential downpour. Footing is not the greatest in that. And people were just pretty much catching the balls like this, right? With their chest and hugging it to the body to make a grab because you can't always trust your hands, especially with the gloves, right? You're wearing rubber gloves. When they get wet or the ball's wet, it's not the easiest to grab. So shout out to everybody who's playing in all those games on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. I don't understand people wear gloves after that. If it's raining like that, there's gloves are not helping you. I feel like it's
true.
It's making it worse. But one thing I do like about the rain is that you get to see who has hands and who doesn't have hands.
That's very true.
Big factor, and I
that
think
is very true.
With Coralie, I think I said something, and she's like, "I don't have any hands," just like that. Because again, she's a player. She's not. I feel like she's a defensive player. She's a great player. But I was kind of like joking around, whatever. I had a couple beers in me as well too. So I kind of mentioned something. She's like, "I don't have any hands," and I was just like, "Okay, all right." But there's a lot of people like, to be honest with you, like I don't have the greatest hands. So when I have gloves on, I feel like I'm a god. Sometimes I make catches. I'm like, "Oh, that was all the gloves." But like my hands are okay. Like again, at that game, I felt pretty comfortable, pretty much catching a lot of those throws that Sander did throw to me when it came down to it, where we kind of need to play. But that's one thing that's one thing you kind of realize when it does rain. You get to see who doesn't have hands and who has hands as well.
100%. 100%. Go for it.
Going into this division, right? Just because since we're here and we kind of mention it, there's only one game that was played. So there's nothing kind of really to talk about. Lego My Flag drops to 1-4. The merge goes to 3-2. 5 teams in this division. Going into next week, there's only one game. It's going to be Li Wu's versus the Mismatch, and that's going to be happening Tuesday, June 30th. So we have a whole week, and that's pretty much it for Go-Ed 1. So
yeah, that's it. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, with all the rescheduling and that, what's going to happen? Because, like you said, obviously the weather didn't help anything. I know next match, like you said, Li Wu's and Mismatch. Next Tuesday, and then the following Thursday, they Go My Flag against Tea Party, and then the merge against Mismatch. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's up. I know quickly. I know Division B, tough, heartbreaking loss for No Regard. They almost made it 2 wins in a row. That game was literally on the field. They were playing the Bruins. That field was on the that game was on the field right next to mine. So I was kind of watching that while I was scorekeeping. And it was like No Regard in the second half, man. It was 28-22 at the half. They got outscored 19-8 in the second half, right? They lost 41-36 to the Bruins, and it just turnovers and just mistakes. And they, despite playing so bad in the second half, they still had a chance. No Regard. Final play of the game, Zach Deschamps, the quarterback, throws a pass to the end zone. He's actually trying to hit Paul Lapierre, who in the back of the end zone, and he kind of tried to gun it in there. And then Ryan Perry showed it. Ryan actually reached for the ball and tried to make a play on it, and he dropped it and it fell incomplete. And as you can see the look on Paul's face and Ryan's face, Ryan realized the pass was for Paul. And Paul's like, yeah, that passes for me, but they're cool with each other. They're friends and stuff, so they no screaming yelling at each other, but like you can tell this is disappointment. But I gotta give no regard credit. Listen, again, they've had a horrible couple of seasons, right? And there's no quitting that team. They had a couple of guys who came late to the game, and they weren't sure who was going to be there, who was not. But I mean, again, they got their first W against Idaho Pimps. They almost made it two in a row, right? Tough loss against the Bruins, but at least like with no regard, they have a fighting chance. They're 1-4, right, with that loss. But again, they have Heartache coming up. That's actually going to be tonight. I'm going to be scorekeeping. Actually, no, it's going to be in Broussard. I won't be on that field, but I'll try to keep an eye on that one. They have Heartache, Silent Ticklers, Ice Pack, Speed Academy, and KGP Dynasty. So I think for no regard, if they can go in their final five, they should be able to win maybe at least two of those games, maybe even three, right? And we'll have to see what happens in terms of the playoffs. But again, I like what I'm seeing out of no regard. Again, these guys got to show up early and on time to the games and be more consistent in that end. Because I mean, you get off to and they have to play a full game, right? You have a better second half. Chances are they win that game. But again, right now they're 10th, right? Top eight made the playoffs. They're 10th, but I mean they're 2 points behind Camping Sampunte, who are ninth, and then KGP Dynasty, who are eight, right? So I mean, big matchup coming up between KGP Dynasty and No Regard. Like I said, in a couple of weeks, that's going to be end of the regular season actually, so week 11. So maybe by the time we get to that point, maybe the winner of that game will punch their ticket to the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, well, that game is definitely kind of that game that the no regards two biggest games are going to be Ice Pack and then KGP Dynasty. Just
Yep.
because right now KGP
Mhm.
Dynasty they only played 3 games, so they still have a long way left. But those are the two teams where they might have to try to beat them out on a tiebreaker. So Ice Pack is definitely going to be a big game, and again, KGP Dynasty is definitely going to be a big game. As 3 teams are not making it, right? And then you have to kind of hope Cape Sante kind of continues struggling, so you kind of can maybe jump KGP,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you want to make sure that Ice Pack and Campe San Brite doesn't jump you as well, because I don't think No Regard plays um, they already played Cambute, so they already lose that tie break against them. So that's definitely something where they're gonna want to win at least those 2 games.
I want to get into. So I know last week we started doing this. I want to get into quickly before we get out of here. The players of the week. So Ali, I think it's gonna be for week 4 now. I think, right, Ali? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it just came out today. The players of the week here. Let's look. Let's look to see. Pardon me. Who do we have here? Okay. So players spotlight for week 4. So sorry about that. Okay. So player spotlight. So we have Tyson Otis Copeland again, the Silent Ticklers. 8 catches, 99 yards, 3 TDs, and he had 2 INTs as a defender again for the Silent Ticklers. So shout out to him again, former Montreal Alouette. Phil Roberts, so the main man Phil. Um, he had a TD and he had 3 sacks. So shout out to Phil, man. So Phil getting it done with the Bempercons and co-ed 2. So shout out to him. Alex Zaleski again, guest on the show a couple weeks back. 11. He had 227 yards, 7 TDs, and 6 tackles in Division B for Ice Pack again. So great job by him. He's really balling. Again, Ice Pack, like I said, obviously big game coming up soon against No Regard. But Ice Pack again, a team I initially thought probably is more of a D3 team, but hey, they're making some moves in D2 Division B. Sorry, they're making some moves in Division B. So shout out to them. Logan Horn from in Division F for Bug Sacks, 8 catches, 115 yards. He had 4 TDs and an INT as a defender. So shout out to again Logan Horn from Bug Sacks in Division F. Michael Del Grosso, we talked about him a couple weeks ago. So Division F with Aladdin FC. He had 3 touchdowns on offense. He had 2 INTs that he ran back to the house as a defender, and then he had 4 sacks as well. So shout out to him. Um, we have Noah Libleen, so Division C with the Packers. I remember seeing him in FPF Junior. God, 12 catches, 112 yards, 4 TDs this past week. So again, great showing by him again. Division C with the Packers. Noah Libleen. Luke Moreau from Division D1, Bend Don't Break. He had 25 completions for 221 yards, 7 TD passes. So shout out to Luke. Solid job by him. Anissa DeJory. So she has for Lioness, a women's C, we talked about earlier, Lioness, right? 4 tackles, 2 INTs, and a pass deflection. So great job. But all those players who we just talked about right there in the player spotlight for this week. Again, if you ball, you'll get the call, right? You'll get your name called on here.
And
Um,
also, Brent, if you do ball and you didn't get the call, you can message FlagPlus Football on Instagram or send an email and
yeah,
say, why am I not a spotlight if I had 6 touchdowns, 3 INTs, whatever. Just send us a message over there, and we'll definitely tell you why, or maybe we'll fix it or something. I know some people could be kind of salty when they look at this, and especially since the fact it's on Instagram, right? So
yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
so they're kind of like, oh, I had a great, because people when stuff like that get posted, you kind of like, wait, it's like week 4, I had I had a better. It's kind of like saying when you're looking at all stars and awards, right? People are very serious about that. I mean, it's to a point where, oh, why am I not a spotlight when I had a better stat line than this person? So if you have any complaints, send us a message. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it, and we'll kind of try to explain to you why, or we'll kind of maybe understand why
Yeah,
you.
100%. Sorry, sorry.
So, Ali, can they hear what you just said, or we have to repeat it?
Good job,
So,
Ali. Good
okay,
job.
so wait, they didn't hear that, right? They just mean that we're just okay. So basically, Ali basically said that you guys kind of suck, and so Ali
This is
basically
better than
said
all
that
of you.
again. It's a big league, right? So it's to a point. It's to a matter of the matter of the point where is that there's a lot of stats, and there's only so much recognition that we could kind of give to everybody. So if we do end up recognize, sorry, there's only
Right,
people we can
recognition.
recognize.
No, no. I heard something else for a second. Nah, recognition. You're right. You got it. You got it.
um, so Richard, get it. Yeah. So again, guys, it's a big league. Sometimes we can't show like love to everybody at the end of the day. So if for some reason if you didn't get a shout out, don't feel too bad. It happens. We forget players, forget stats. Sometimes games happen before it gets posted. So don't feel too bad about the situation.
100%. 100%. I was about to give Ali credit. I was like, finally, you're manning up and people can hear your voice on the podcast, but I guess not yet. You'll be coming on in a minute or so. I know we 100% we want to touch base, obviously, on the rivalry series, right? That happened. It was last weekend there. The Team Canada both against the U.S. both in the men's and women's football.
Yeah. So that took place in LA just
Yep.
this past weekend. That just kind of passed. We had Team USA play basically a format of Team USA. I guess they're still making their cuts. I believe both teams have a decent amount of roster spots left on both teams. Again, we had our women's team as well, team that's going to be representing hopefully the Olympics 2028. We have a decent amount of Quebec athletes that also play in the FPF as well too. They end up playing with each other. So again, the format's literally the same thing for 5v5, Olympic format, where we actually had our women's team winning that game. I believe it was 34-33. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not, but I know the Canadian women's team did win that game. So a big shout out to them. I know they kind of did a. We had Sarah Parker that's been on the show. She's a quarterback for there. We also had Ash Clare, as well as the quarterback that plays for University of Montreal. So they kind of did because at the end of the day, it's a practice, right? We're trying to find out who's the top 12 athletes that we want to send into Germany that's coming up. That's going to be the next qualifications for us. So we need to find out who could play under pressure. So they had Sarah Parker uh, only starting the first half. So people wondering why did Sarah Parker only play for the first half? That's the reason why. And also we had a couple switches with some of the females, women's as well on offense, defense. And then going into the med side, I think they had about 20 players or 18 players on that roster, and they kind of did the same thing. Where unfortunately for them, they lost 50-14. I don't know, Brent. Did you watch any of the games, or did you see any of the
So
highlights?
I watched the women's game. So yeah, the women's like winning 34-33. So Elizabeth Ashkar threw the game winning touchdown to Caroline Moquin-Joubert with like 19 seconds left to get the win, and then Team Canada made a defensive stop to end the game. The men's game, unfortunately for the men's team, not as close. The men, yeah, kind of getting dominated. I'll be honest with you. I believe the final score, I want to say, was 44. And I'm checking it here. I didn't have a chance to catch much of the men's game. I think it was 44-19. Hold on, I'm trying to bring it up right here. My
Brent, it was
apologies. Sorry.
50-16.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, 50-16. Yeah, you're right. So obviously disappointing showing by the men's, but again, listen, this is why this is where you want to make those mistakes and get better, right? For this men's team. So we'll have to see what happens. But again, shout out to both again. All the men and women that played, right, representing part of Team Canada. Like shout out to them, and they're trying their best, and we try to make that march for 2028.
Yeah, which is also the greatest thing. Actually, one thing I do want to see: how good is Caroline?
Moquin-Joubert.
How good is she?
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
she's actually
phenomenal.
she's solid. She made so many big catches where I was like, oh my
Mhm.
god, wow. I think she's probably like I don't want to like go over the head top. I think she's probably one of the top, at least top 5 athletic women that's going to be going. But I'm assuming she probably will make the team for the Olympics. To be honest with you,
I'd be
unless like
shocked if she didn't.
yeah, exactly. She's probably one of the top 5 like athletic women
Yeah.
that I see playing football. Her hands are like she makes great catches, great reads. Like I was actually like, well, I mean, I've seen her play at Concordia, whatever, but
And that's
uh,
hockey. That's totally different, right? Like
yeah, well,
it's.
no, I mean, like for the football because she played on the
Oh, okay,
Concordia
okay, my
football
bad. Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Which again, she's amazing. She's amazing at hockey too. I seen her play hockey as well too. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she was a stud. Like to be honest with you, I was like, wow, she was actually one of the reasons why Canada even won that game. But she made some great catches. Kind of going back to topic. Sorry.
When I watch her play, especially running routes, like she's smooth.
Yeah, and she
She's
makes
smooth
big
with it.
catches. Like she makes catches where you're
Mhm.
just like a lot of those a lot of people that drop those balls. She doesn't
Yeah,
drop it.
yeah.
She makes big catches. Going back to the men's side, we were kind of talking about it. I'm interested to see how they're gonna move forward, right? Because right now this is kind of how they're scheduled. Like, to be honest, I think the women are fine. I feel like on defense they might have to make some adjustments. I feel like some of the women that are on the team shouldn't be there. But again, that's my opinion. We're going to kind of see how they go. I think offensively, I think they're in great hands. They have great play calling. Under just the fact that Sarah Parker is kind of in control there and she feels comfortable. She's been playing in a lot of these tournaments, a lot of these national tournaments as well too. I think we're in good hands. And I think the defense, again, we have so many great women talent. I think we're going to be fine. I just think we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have to plug in some more players here and there, and then we have nothing to worry about. I think we'll definitely medal, especially in Germany. It's coming up. I think we should finish at least top 3.
Yeah.
Going towards the men's side, right? Again, I'm someone that's not well, someone that can be sort of biased, but like not towards the side where I feel how do I put this so I don't sound like a hater. I just think towards the men's side, I think they kind of have to kind of go away from the football side. One thing that I think the biggest
Yeah.
difference between women's football and men's football right now is that you have, especially in Canada, right? I feel like in other sports, flag was played more just in general in a lot of countries where you didn't really have the benefit of taking tackle players in different countries. Where in Canada, it's such a big thing where you have most of these guys that play tackle that are not transitioning properly towards flag. So
Right. Right.
Canada side, like don't get me wrong, I think the offense is fine. I think they're not going to have that many issues. Under Michael O'Connor, the quarterback, you have James Drysdale. He played snapper. Why is James Drysdale playing snapper?
Really?
It didn't make
Wow. Okay.
yeah, it didn't make any sense. He's not. Don't get me wrong. Great, James is a great athlete, right? But
Mhm.
he's not a snapper. There's no reason for him to snap. I feel like it takes away so much of his athletic abilities and his playmaking skills for you. Where you have kind of like Hushlow that played the slot, which he made two crazy ass catches that were the touchdowns, we went over the top, where he played his position. And then you have Anthony O'Clair, which no offense to him, like he's 6'7", but like that's all he brings. He,
Thank you. That I was in that since day one. I don't. You want to have a bit of notoriety, and the man's on a couple Super Bowls, so credit to him. But like, I don't see why he's on the team.
No,
That's just me. I could be wrong, but that's just me.
he's just size. Like he's a big body. Don't get me wrong. When you're 6'7", okay, you're a big body only when it comes down to certain situations. Maybe bring him in as a red zone player.
Yeah,
But
okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's
even at
fair.
that fact, if you do that, you're taking away a roster spot where maybe you could bring someone else, maybe not as big as him, but more athletic, more faster, more better catch abilities. It's like to a point, take away his name. If he's on name is Anthony, if you take away his name is Anthony Leclerc, and you put him in a regular spot as a Joe, and then you're like,
Mhm.
okay, we have this guy. I'm pretty sure he would have been cut by now. Just the
Yeah,
fact I think it's
yeah,
a lot of
possible.
these guys, it's because of their names, right? Again, you have McQuah, the DB from Montreal. I forgot his full name. McQuah. He played for
Maxime
Montreal.
Lavallee.
Sorry.
Who Maxime Lavallee? You talking
No,
about?
no,
Or?
no. He played for Laval, not him.
Oh, Marc-Antoine Dequoy, the former
Yeah,
Alouette
yeah,
safety. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Again, like
But
a
he's
player
well,
like
I mean,
that.
he's a good player though in FPF. Like, I mean, he has like I think 7 games, but he's
Yeah, but
I understand what you're saying, but he's a guy because of his athleticism. I and what he can do. I'd rather have him on the team than a guy like Anthony O'Clair. Right? Anthony O'Clair, one top-notch blocking tight end, right? But in the last time I checked, there's no blocking in flag football. And again, he has Super Bowl championship, so you can tell me to shut up if you want, but like. I, I don't. I think it's more of a name recognition. Again, not to take anything away. He's trying his best, and I'm sure he's more than happy to be there, and he wants to represent Canada, and rightfully so. But I think for him, like you're saying, it's more of a name. And I like if you told me, okay, we're biased because we were for FPF, but if you told me Anthony O'Clair or Jean-Louis Alexis, who would you choose on the team?
I would take
Unless he
Chance.
could play anywhere on the field. Like,
Yeah, exactly. But that's what the issue with Team Canada was, right? They had the new quarterback that kind of came in. I forgot his name as well too. He was in a starting position. So you had Michael O'Connor. You had that quarterback's name. I forgot his name.
Jackson,
But
Tuchinski, I believe you're talking about,
okay,
right?
so yeah. So he was yeah. So you have Jackson. You have Michael O'Connor. You had James Drysdale. You had Hushlow, and then you
Yeah,
had
Francois
Anthony.
Leclerc.
So you had those five
Yep.
guys, right?
Yeah, Breeze, yeah.
They were supposed to run a double quarterback option where they didn't run it at all. So you had a second quarterback running routes, which to be honest with you, no disrespect to him, he's not a receiver. It's like
Mhm.
they're doing
Yeah,
so
sure.
much things where it's like, if you're not gonna run it, why is he there? I understand you're trying to get him to learn, but it makes no sense. Like you're trying to
Yeah.
see what's working, and you're not using what you try to do. You guys should have done double quarterback every single play. If he's on the field, why is he running routes? And I get the concept. Okay, like every team does double quarterback, but they're dropping their guys. These guys are not dropping. They only started dropping him later on, and they end up scoring a touchdown. But do it now. Like this is the reason why you're not going to play a better team other than the U.S. And there's not going to be a better team than
True.
U.S.
That's
You're gonna
true.
have
It's
Mexico.
true.
You're gonna have Mexico. That's gonna be one of the top teams as well too. But like,
Yeah.
this is the best time. So use everything you want to do now. Do it now against them until before you get into like Germany, where you start doing it. Like, do it now. Practice it now. It's the reason I want to practice. It's kind of the reason why you guys are in training camp. So like, as me, like I'm watching this game and I'm like, okay, we have so many good athletic players. Where one, it doesn't make sense what they're doing, and then two, like some of these guys, you just kind of have to get them away. what I was saying about Makwa was his biggest issue is that he's crazy athletic. He's probably one of the fastest guys I've ever seen in my life. But it's kind of like you put him in a system where he wasn't ready for it. And like he got exposed like there's no tomorrow. So it's like I feel like they could have
Right.
maybe not waited, but kind of got him more to par, got him to make it understand a bit more before kind of throwing him into the fire. So that's like one thing that I did not like about the men's. A lot of people were kind of saying like, oh, they're kind of doomed and like that. I don't think they're doomed. I just think defensively they're gonna have to try to change a lot of guys. They're way too slow. Like to be honest, our USA is freaking fast, but there's no
Mm-hmm.
reason why we don't have faster guys on the defensive side. I think that's one thing that kind of has to be changed. And again, it's not tackle. You don't need these big, strong guys looking like they're muscle men about to like knock you out. You need quick agility guys to be able to make a tackle. Like some things have to be changed. Again, I'm not in the room, so I'm just talking from what I feel and what I kind of see. But knowing the athletic guys I know in Canada, there's no reason why we should not be meddling in every single tournament we go to. We should be dominating. There's no reason why Canada doesn't dominate in Germany, doesn't dominate in the Olympics in 2028. There's no reason why we should not dominate when we're playing a sport where we've been playing the sport forever. Even though it's like the flag aspect, it's still football at the end of the day. You still have pretty much the top of the top talents in Canada other than anywhere else in the world. So there's no reason why we should not dominate. And when we don't dominate and we go into tournaments and we finish sixth and we finish seventh and we finish eighth, I do not understand why.
No, it's fair. It's fair. I mean, again, this is not the finished product, right, for Team Canada, but I
No,
understand your frustrations for sure. Where you have the female side, the women's side looks a lot better. They look like more closer to the finished product than the men do, specifically after this tournament. To wait and see. I mean, I think again, like they're trying different pieces, again, adding guys on, taking guys off. So they're trying their best to try different things. And I do understand what you're saying, like throw it all out there, but you also want to have the element of surprise, right? When these later tournaments come and when the Olympics come, you don't want to empty out your entire playbook before those come. But I mean,
but it's
you
still
have time to add more stuff in there for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. It's still everyone does double quarterback. It's not a surprise. It's not like, oh, we're doing double quarterback.
Yeah,
Surprise,
true.
surprise. It's like when the
Well,
Braves brought it out. When the
yeah,
Braves brought the double quarterback and stuff like that, everyone was like, "Oh my God, what's double quarterback?"
yeah,
And
exactly,
that was a
exactly.
surprise. But everybody's
Yeah.
doing it now. People do three quarterbacks, and there's no surprises now. It's now we have a product, and you got to make sure you try to finish the product. Like again, I know we're kind of running out of time here. So that happened. That was a summer classic, I think they called it.
Yeah,
Summer
it
games,
was
summer
called
classic games.
the rivalry series. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was done again. Like, congratulations to the women's on kind of beating Team USA. I know there's a kind of rivalry there. They're pretty much happy with they're doing. Fortunately for the men, they lost 50-16. We do have kind of to stay in the same topic. We have nationals coming up this weekend. That's going to be at Code Rubber Yard,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
June 28th to 30th.
Hmm.
From what I understand, I think there's about 40 teams competing this weekend. So there's a lot of teams. It starts place on Friday at 4 p.m., where you're going to have pretty much every division. You have the men's competitive, and then you have the men's. What do they call? I don't think they call it competitive. They call it like basically it's like intermediate. So there's two divisions. Same thing for women's. You have the women's competitive, and then you have like the women's intermediate, where one's higher than the other one, two divisions. For the men, you actually have Team Canada, which is something we were kind of talking about. So Team Canada is actually participating in this tournament, but only for exhibition matches, which in my head it doesn't make any sense. I don't want to talk about this because if I do, we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
you talked about it last week. You
I
mentioned it
can talk
last
about
week.
this for 30 minutes. So pretty much Team Canada chose three teams to play against. They're going to be playing against the Braves, Party Crashers, and Montreal Magic. So technically, it's the three teams that kind of finished the top three from last year.
Okay.
So they pretty much said, okay, we're going to play the best of the teams. I actually can't wait to see Braves versus Team Canada because, to be
Yes,
honest with you,
yes.
I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys from the Braves are a bit salty. Emil, you
Of
have
course.
Gab, you have Joe Meyer, you have all
Of
these guys
course.
that they probably feel like they should be part of Team Canada. So I think they're
Yep,
going to
yep,
have
yep.
something to show about it. Same thing for Party Crush as well too. You have guys like Jean Slee, as well, that used to be part of Team Canada. Now I don't think he's with them anymore. So that Party Crashers team is disgusting. That roster is insane. They kind of just posted
I'm
about it.
looking to exactly, exactly,
They
exactly. Thank
added
you.
pretty much the most athletic guy in Toronto named Pinto. He plays a team called EBO. Amazing star. It just makes their team 10 times even better. So that's going to be something interesting to see for those two games. I'm just really excited for the Braves and Team Canada matchup. That's going to be happening at Saturday, I think at noon. So that's going to be very cool to
Okay.
see. So yeah, so that's going to be Claude Robillard on June 28th and the 30th. And the last thing I wanted to mention, it kind of got announced last week. Phil Cutler decided he wanted to be more into football. So Phil Cutler, as he's the CEO of basically KGP, he's the head coach of the McGill Flag football
Yep.
team, and
Yep.
now he's the founder and CEO for a thing called World Flag Series. So for the people that don't know, World Flag Series is basically, we had the NFL teams played, the two NFL teams played basically in the Team USA. Basically, it's the same thing,
Right,
but it's
right,
kind of
right,
like
right,
more of
right,
a
right.
it's more like a draft method. So pretty much is he drafted, well, not him, but his, I guess his workers, his company, they draft players all over the world, and they kind of have a tournament. They draft 10 players for three different teams, so it's 30 women, females, and all over basically the world, and they basically compete in a tournament where I believe they're paid. It's going to be broadcasted. They're going to have a lot of media and stuff like that, just to kind of get all these names out. Just because how big women's flag football is, this is kind of like a next step to kind of promote it and kind of show everywhere around the world how big it could be. And it also shows women athletes that, like, okay, maybe you don't have, like, how football is in the States, right? Like college football in the States is insane. It kind of just shows, like, okay, maybe you can't make it that big in that situation, but there's starting to be so much bigger things now. Also, college is starting to have women teams as well too, but it just kind of show like you could be a professional playing this sport. There's opportunities all over the world for you, so you feel more involved. And I think like that's one of the reasons why he kind of did what he did.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, yeah, why not? Listen, it's another avenue, it's another league, another place for people to play ball, right? And to spread more you get more eyes on the product for lack of better words, right? So hey, that's great. I mean, congrats to Phil and getting this done and expect hopefully some big things coming out of this.
Yeah, again, it's pretty cool. 30 women players get basically
Yep.
drafted, and they make three teams, and
Big
they
things,
have
yeah,
coaches
exactly.
that broadcast. To be honest, I think the idea is pretty cool, and that's going to be
Yeah.
happening July 25th,
26, I think.
July 25th, 2016, in Tampa, Florida. So in a couple,
Actually, yeah, 24, you're right. Yep.
yeah. So in basically about a month and so from today.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So we have this, the World Flag on World Flag Series as July 25th, like you said. And I know, yeah, like I said, we have the Senior National Flag Championships here in Montreal from the 26th to the 28th, hosted by Football Quebec. So big things for flag football, right? I mean, it's always a great thing to see. Um, I know quickly before we sign off here, I know I woke up this morning. Giannis got traded to the Heat.
Yeah.
What's your opinion quickly on that one?
To be honest with you, I don't know why he went to the Heat. Like, I guess the Heat right now, they have what, they have Powell, um, they have Jokic,
Kind of.
Jokic,
Well,
they have Bam.
yeah, they got Bam. I mean, so Norman Powell's a free agent. I don't think he's gonna resign there. Like this
He
is
has to resign. They need a point guard.
yeah,
They
yeah. Well,
need they need
that's exactly that's it. Yeah, yeah. They need a
The
point
thing
guard for
is,
sure.
Bam and Giannis is gonna be nasty together. Don't get me wrong; these guys are
Great defense.
no like Bam still scored 83 points. It's still like at the end of the day, he scored 83 points. And Giannis is Giannis. He's not getting younger, but he's still a Greek freak, right? But like they need role players. They need guys that kind of get like Giannis could drop 30, right? 35. Bam could drop 25. You still need some guys to drop at least 10, 12. You need point guards. You need guys to give the ball. I think you have Mitchell. You have not Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell.
Davian Mitchell, but he's more of a defensive guy. Like Andrew Wiggins, so he has a player option. Hopefully, they want him to come back, so that'll give them at least 15 points. I think I like to trade for Miami because when they get a superstar, they usually do well, right? From Bosh, LeBron, even Lonzo Mourning, Shaq, right? They always win when they get when they get superstars, and it's been a while. Even Jimmy Butler, they made the finals twice, he didn't win, but I mean, still a superstar. I like to trade for them. I mean, they gave up a lot, but not a ton, right? I mean, draft picks, yes, but I mean, player wise, Kilo, where I like the center that's going to Milwaukee. Jaime Jaquez was second in the sixth man voting, and Tyler Hero, I don't think Tyler Hero's going to be there for long. He's a Milwaukee native, but I think, no, Wisconsin native. I think they're going to trade him because he's a free agent after next year. There's no reason to keep him there. Why we want to stay there? I mean, listen, Giannis going downhill and Bam doing the same, that's great. But look, you're right. They need a point guard. They need shooting too. They have no perimeter shooting, right? It's Norman Powell if they could resign him. But if you're Norman Powell, this is your last chance to get a bag, right? To get a big bag, like 25, 30 a year. They can't afford that, the Heat. So maybe they'll bring back Andrew Wiggins, but and he's a free agent as well. But you're right. I mean, I think Chris Middleton will end up there from his boy from Milwaukee. If they can make a trade for Drew Holiday or something, because Drew Holiday is not going to want to be in Portland if they're bringing back Dame Lillard, right? I mean, then that's something. But people were saying they're like the third best team in the East right now. No, they're not. No, they're not. With the roster right now, definitely no. But even if they add a point guard or some shooting, my Knicks are number one in the East. I still say Celtics number two. Pistons had the best record in the East, right? I think they're going to improve their roster. Cleveland, I mean, I don't trust Cleveland, but regular season wise, they're a good team. And people are sleeping on the Pacers. Pacers are a good team and they're bringing back Halliburton, right? And they got the center from the Clippers there, Zubac, before at the deadline. Pacers aren't going anywhere. I don't think the Heat are a top 5 team in the East. So I'll give them that. They won't be in the plane and all that anymore. But I don't see them finishing top 3 in the East.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't go too much into it. I'm surprised at all places. I'm surprised that's where he went.
I mean, it's Miami. Miami's a beautiful place, and Pat Riley, him and Spoelstra, they'll do their thing. It was either that or Boston, right? Boston, I mean, listen, Jaylen Brown, great player, stud. He carried them to second place in the East. 2 first-round picks is nothing to sneeze at. But who do they have? I think if they made the trade with Boston for Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks, what can you build around Jaylen Brown in Milwaukee, right? They have Miles Turner. That was a horrible free agent signing. Maybe he'll be better, but it's going to be the same thing where Jaylen Brown's going to want out eventually. So I tried to trade with Miami they should have traded him last year. If you trade him last year, you get a lot more back.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Milwaukee, but it is what it is. Ali, what's your take on this trade?
Okay, so I'm just gonna make my debut on the show for the first time.
Yes.
Hear my voice.
Yes, you make your debut, man up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So okay, what I think personally is that Miami Heat. I love how they work. I love Wiggs, man, but he's inconsistent. You cannot count on him 100% because he has been inconsistent, even with the Warriors when he was there. But having 2 big men like Bam and Giannis, I don't think it's gonna work. You need someone to pass to them, and shoot from behind the arc, as you guys said. So, and the game is changing every single day towards that 3-point shooting because the game is becoming more just a point-based game rather than just going and playing in the paint. So I don't think it's such a great deal for them, but I mean, you never know. Maybe they take Giannis and they trade it for someone else. You never know. So anything could happen in the NBA right now. So I personally think it's not a best deal for Heat. and Milwaukee probably lost their chance. And they are not gonna get. They have to build their roster for the next, I would say, 5 years or something.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. They got like 3 first-round picks. So Milwaukee, I can understand that. I'm happy he didn't go to the Celtics for the only reason that if Giannis goes to Boston, that forces Boston to change that live and die by the 3, right? And as we saw in the playoffs last year and the year before, like when those 3s aren't dropping, they don't win.
Yes.
And so you have Giannis that forces you to change your strategy on offense. So the fact that they didn't get Giannis, Jaylen Brown, now he's probably upset. Whether I would just try to keep him in men defenses if I'm them. But as long as the Celtics stay with this 3-ball or nothing offense, they're not winning anything. At least, they won a couple years ago with that. But again, we've seen the last 2 years, more recently, when the 3's not dropping, they're not winning. So as a Knicks fan, I'm extremely pleased to see that Giannis is not with Boston.
Yes.
And yeah, Miami makes it better for sure. Giannis is still a top 5 player, but I'm not worried about the Heat. Even if they fill their bench, they can get a point guard and some shooters. I don't care, to be honest.
True. As long as, to be honest with you, as long as I don't see Boston anywhere, I hate Boston so much that you cannot comprehend. Sure. I hate them so much. And JT, get a grip. Hey, oh my God. Have your own style, bro. Come on. Stop copying every single person in the world.
Wow. So for those of you that don't know at home, Ali Reza, we talk a lot of basketball Valley all the time, and he's always saying in our ear how much he hates the Lakers, he hates LeBron, he hates Golden State, even though that's his team.
I hate Gold. I hate Brandon Pajinski. God. That's how it is, huh?
There you go. There's a lot of hate in your young body. You might need some help. All right, Quaysie's out of here. We're gonna sign off. I know it's been a long episode. Thank you guys for holding it down. This has been the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. Thanks to Ali Rez. Ali finally coming on the set, coming on the mic, and we get to hear his awesome voice and hear his basketball take, as misguided as it may be. Just joking. Thank you guys, of course, at home for tuning in. We wouldn't be here without you guys. Again, just some posts up on Facebook. Make sure to check them out on Instagram as well. Make sure to check them out, fill them out. Some questions or answer them, I should say. And again, as you always say, if you want to be a guest on the pod, please come on, because just me, Quaysie, and now Ali talking to ourselves is all right, but it could be a lot more fun if you guys come on. So male, female, whatever, just come on the show. We can chop it up and have some fun. Talk ball, talk basketball if you want. Jazz Fest is starting this week. I'm super excited about that. Just for Laughs is around the corner, so I'll be going to the cultural show. I'm super excited. Jazz Fest I'll be checking out Saturday and probably Sunday too, to be honest. I'm not playing this weekend, so why not? Summertime's here. It's a beautiful time in the city. Go out and enjoy it. I'm about to go do that as I drive to Broussard to Scorekeep and being indoors, which is not the smartest decision by me, but gotta pay the bills. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.